Hey guys, just want to welcome you to another edition of Halftime Chat, and really excited to welcome back Meelah Williams, 702. Um, it's officially the longest interview on Halftime Chat. We don't expect it to go that long today, but she has written her first book, and it's going to be interesting to hear about that and to see when we expect 702 to be back on the road. Meelah, after our interview, within a couple of months, lost her mum to cancer. So it took her hard because her mum stayed with her and was helping with childcare. So it'll be interesting just to see how Meelah's doing and take things from there. All right, stay tuned.
Hi there.
How you doing?
Thank you for your patience. Oh my God.
That's fine.
It's my fault. I completely forgot. Corey was like, it's today, right? I was like, oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. Ah, okay,
Okay.
I made it. Hello. How you been?
I've been doing good. I've been doing good. Wow. Where's Zach then? Is he at home?
Yes. So last time it was just you and I, but now I have my son. But I allowed him to have his iPad today, which he usually doesn't get until Fridays, like end of the week,
Okay.
the school week. But I made an exception for today, so that'll keep him at bay. He's not gonna know I exist, so he won't bother.
Okay. Wow. But I mean, how have you been? As I said, there's been a sort of a whirlwind of a 3 or 4 months for you.
Say the least. I don't know, up and down, honestly, up and down. I've had my days. Sometimes I'm well enough to make sure I can be present for my son, get him to school, be a parent, make sure he's alive, fed, and taken
Yeah.
care of, and that's just the God honest truth. If it wasn't for him, I probably would still be somewhere in a dark corner, truthfully. But I have my days, I have my days, I can't even articulate it any other way because what's today? In 2 days it'll be six. Oh, is today the 19th? Today's the 19th.
No, tomorrow.
No,
Today's the 18th.
today's 18th. Tomorrow is the 19th. It'll be exactly 6 months tomorrow that my mom passed. And so it's just for me, it's still very fresh, it's still new to me. Even though it's been 6 months, it still feels like 6 days. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Because it's my mom, and more so because she lived with me
Mm.
the past 5 or 6 years. Um, she moved in with Zach and myself. She moved here like a decade ago, like me, from Vegas to help me with Zach. And she was our full-time nanny, and he knows grandma. So
But
it's just been difficult because it's like suddenly grandma's gone,
yeah.
and it's kind of tough to explain to a kid on the spectrum who
Yeah.
who's not really verbal and whose comprehension is pretty delayed. So yeah.
Does he know that she's not coming back, or what does he?
So every time I choose to just randomly bring her up because I realized that was the best thing, was to just randomly bring her up. Because he caught me off guard one time. I just asked about her out of the blue. He just said Granny, and I was just like, oh my God, what do I do? But so every time that happens, which has been twice now, I make sure that my main objective is to land on she's not coming back with him. You know what I mean? Like that's the main goal when I have the granny talk with him. Like the main thing is just to help him understand she's not coming back.
Wow. Have
So
you had the funeral?
yeah. She passed in, like I said, October 19th, which is tomorrow, 6 months. So yes, we had her services in November in Las Vegas, where I'm from. We had her.
Oh, okay. It was Zach. I guess Zach wasn't there.
Oh, he was there. He came,
Oh, but he didn't know what was
but
happening.
no, he does not understand
Wow.
that. No,
Yeah.
I mean, heck, so some of us adults barely understand death
Yeah, yeah. What about your sister?
and funerals. So, no, I mean, I try my best to help him understand. So I have my way of explaining it to him. First of all, I gave him a choice. I did not force him to go and see her body in the casket. I gave him the option, and I'm sure he didn't even know what I was asking, but I
Yeah.
still asked. But I was like, hey, because she hadn't been home for probably like around a month. Then she hadn't been at the house. Last he knew was like she's in the hospital. So he was just like, okay, he had no idea what was going on. But I tried to explain to him, hey, this was happening. That's there she is. There's Granny up there. Do you want to go and see her? This was at her viewing, which was the day before the actual funeral service. And I don't know that he really knew, but he heard me say Granny, and do you want to see Granny? So he's just like, well, shucks, yeah, because where's she been? Like, yeah, let me see. So he had his iPad, and I walked him up to the casket, and he kind of just like he glanced, looked, and then he just looked back down at his iPad and walked away. I don't really think it registered. I doubt it.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
I always give my rendition of what I've come up with as a parent, and I just say, hey, because he always says when I randomly ask him, hey, where's Granny? Because I'll sometimes put him on the spot just to see what he's gonna say, and he goes, Granny is sick, and I was like, yes, she was sick. She was sick, and I always tell him she's better now, but she now has to live with God,
Okay.
because if she comes live with us again, she's gonna get sick again because the doctors just couldn't make her better. So that's what I tell them. Like, so she
Wow.
had to go live with God. So now she lives with God. So that's what I just tell her. I didn't know what to say. That I came up with
Yeah.
that.
No, no,
Like,
but that
now she
sounds
lives with
really good.
God. I'm like she's in heaven in the sky with God and the angels. And I say, and I tell him, I said she can see us. I said we can't see her, but I said but Granny can still see you, and she loves you, and she misses you. Like I just try to make sure that he understands, like, Granny still loves you, she still misses you. And I kind of like, I'll bring up something random that she used to say to him or something,
Mm.
um, just to make it, I guess, somewhat comfortable for him.
Yeah.
And that's that. I'm certain he doesn't really understand, but he's in middle school now, and I know they do a lot of reading comprehension with um, stories that actually they don't go into depth about death, but that will mention the main character, being deceased or having died or whatever. Especially if it's like, somebody who is of importance, in America or whatever. And so I said, so I know he's familiar with the term, I think, like died or whatever.
Mm.
So I asked, I just said, hey, I'll just randomly ask him, is Granny alive, or is Granny, is she alive, or did she die? And he'll say she died. And I'm like, that's right, she died, and so she's in the box. And I'll tell him, like I said, remember, she was in a box, it's called a casket, and now she's in heaven with God, so that she won't get sick again. And I just stick to that, man. I don't know
Yes. Yeah.
what to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have to. I mean, it's like he's 14, but he's
Mm.
5. When it comes to stuff like that, like how do
Yeah.
you? I don't know. Well, not even 5, because these 5-year-olds understand death these days. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
For lack of a better example, he's just very much delayed when it comes to understanding death and cancer, and all of a sudden, Granny's gone. So I do the
But
best I can.
so were you aware that she was, because when we spoke, there was, oh, mom's gone out with Zach and everything. But were you? It seems it wasn't a surprise and it wasn't sudden. Oh.
No, it was definitely sudden. I think when we spoke, I believe it was probably getting to a turning point, if you will, taking a turn for the worse, which we didn't know at the time. When I spoke to you, I believe, which, because I had my house to myself, which was the only way I was able to speak to you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like I never get, that's a rarity. So either Zach was probably with
Zach
dad,
was with his
or
dad. Yeah.
Mhm. And my mom was in the hospital, I believe. But my aunt, one of my aunts had flown in from Vegas, one of her sisters, to be with her. So I'm certain that I had probably just left the hospital, ran home, remembering that I had an interview and spoke with you.
But you didn't sound like that was you. I mean, you were even talking about moms, the music, the sort of the music, being in a recording studio, talking about how moms. So
that was me really just kind of deflecting. And also, honestly, my mom is extremely private.
Okay.
Like even with family, like she just really didn't want everybody to know. When we first learned of her diagnosis, she kept it pretty private and to herself, with the exception of just like a few really, really close family and friends. And truthfully, my mom is a super, super strong woman of faith. Like she's we're Christian, and my mother is she was a devout Christian that truly believed that she was going to come through it and get through it, and God was going to heal her, which in turn I guess inevitably he did, but just on the other side. But her thing was like, oh, there's no need to tell anybody really, because this is just going to be my testimony. I'm going to get through this. I'm going to beat it. So my sister and I, of course, we wanted to take on that same attitude. You know what I mean? We were like, okay, Mom, we're with you. You're going to beat it. So that was just me probably being rehearsed with just having that front and being, that strong presentation or representative, if you will, of the daughter who has been asked to just share her mom's faith and know that, hey, yeah, I've been diagnosed with this and the doctors say that, but guess what? I'm going to beat this. Do you know what I mean? So I oftentimes didn't bring it up a lot. And it started out good, honestly. So I can't even remember what stage she was at when you and I spoke, because it started out, the chemo was working. It was going well. She was, her weight was stabilized. It was good for a moment. I think we all thought she was really going to come through it. And it just unfortunately just took a turn for the worse.
How's that affected your faith?
Well, I don't want to say that it's affected my faith. I do have questions, and I mean, I'll be honest, I have no problem articulating the fact that I've been upset and angry with God before. Okay. So, and I'm sure he knows that I talk to him like that, So, I don't think it's affected my faith. I think I've chosen to accept and believe that whether I like it or not, it just was for the best. And for reasons that I'll probably never know or understand, it just was his will and just was supposed to happen, needed to happen. Why? I don't know. Because that woman's faith was unwavered. And I'm like, somebody as devout as my mom, like her middle name was Jesus. You know what I mean? Her first name was Jesus. Like that's that lady. She's like, my mom was a minister since high school, since I was in high school. She accepted her calling as a minister and as an event. She started out as an evangelist and went on into ministry really heavy full time throughout my life. And so you do have questions sometimes. You're just like, dang, like somebody like that who was really believed and was like the biggest cheerleader for Christ, and but I have to just remind myself that Jesus himself suffered. You know what I mean? And even if you're not a Christian, it's just the story of Christ. He suffered too. So who are we to be exempt?
Yeah.
So I just have to remind myself that, well, I shouldn't say unfortunately, but that, he just has a plan for us all. And I didn't see that coming. None of us did. My sister and I the whole family, none of us saw it coming. None of us, because she had 7 siblings and she was, I think, the 5th child of the 8 of them, and all of them are still alive. And so she wasn't even the oldest. They're all still alive, and so all of her siblings and me and my sister, we're just all dumbfounded. We know our parents get older and eventually they may pass, right? Because death is a part of life. But my mom was always really youthful, never sickly, never hospital, like never never any health issues. Just like this young, vibrant, little feisty, sassy woman.
Yeah.
Who, like I said, was just this cheerleader for Christ, but who loved life and who, um, gosh, she was just a really passionate woman who was an advocate for her children and just loved her grandbabies and just always, like I said, just happy and upbeat and came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. Generous heart. And, she just, her ministry was young girls and women. She spoke a lot to young girls and women a lot. All my friends always called her. And it's so funny when she passed. It's so funny. I had a few of them that were like, your mom prayed with me. She did this and she did that. And I'm like, yeah, I know. That's my mom. And then I had a few that were like, well, she told me to leave such and such. Your mom was thinking why I broke up with what's his name. And I'm like, oh Lord, that's my mom. So, but that was her thing. She just really loved speaking life into women and girls, and who just really needed just reassurance that they were enough. That was really her calling. That was her thing. That's what she did, at church, and she was over the women's ministry, and that was just her thing. That was my mom, and so she was a light to many. So, man, when it happened, like, yeah, everybody that was affected by her in a positive way, which was a lot of folks. I learned that at her homegoing service. Like, she had a beautiful turnout. It was a beautiful service, and like, it was so lovely. And my sister and I were just in awe of all the lives that she touched. We really were. We hadn't lived in Vegas in a while, so we kind of forgot that. Kind of forgot all that she did before she, moved here with me to be grandma. And so it was just a reminder. And so I just try to focus on, those things, the good things, and I'm just trying to push through. It's been hard though. I'm not gonna even lie about that. It's been tough, but I'm okay. I have a whole son to live for, and I have to push every day. I got things to do. Still, I have a life that I have to live, and I have to remember that she's better now. As cliche as it sounds, she's not suffering anymore. She's no longer sick. So that's just a blessing in itself to know that she's not in pain anymore. Because I watched that journey was rough. I was her caregiver. I took her to all her appointments, and I sat with her in her chemo, and I watched that stuff, and it's not pleasant, And she died here in my house.
Wow.
In her room across the way, and it's still the same. And my sister and I saw her pass away at like, I don't know, 11 o'clock a.m. I had just dropped Zach off at school, came back, and yeah, me, my sister, and my mom's sister, my aunt, we saw it. We witnessed it, and it was not pretty. And I've never seen anything like that in my life. I've never seen anybody transition, and it was rough. So that has had a very strong effect, on me. And all her stuff is still in my house. But I'm, slowly we've been getting rid of things and moving things out and stuff like that. So I'm working towards, healing, but it's a process.
Yeah. Would you ever get to do bereavement counseling?
So yes, that's definitely necessary. So I've been reaching. So here we are in April, and I feel terrible because I've been searching since January, and I just haven't found anybody or anything that I feel like I'm interested in, and or they're just only virtual. And I don't want virtual because I'm surrounded by her things already in my house. So I'm like, I don't want virtual. Like, it's triggering. My whole house is a trigger.
Okay.
I want to go and sit in person, and I think I want group. So it's just been like those key things that have been kind of challenging to find. But I think I did finally find something that's a group grief, a group grief counseling is what it's called. It's a group chat. Oh, not a chat, but it's a group grief session, and it's at a local church not far from me, and it's like for 2 hours, and I think that might be a good fit. I don't know. For some reason, I'm not interested in one-on-one. Not right now, anyway. I don't know why. I feel like I want to be around a group right now. Um, Maybe because I don't know. It just already just feels so lonely here without her. So I just want like a group setting and just maybe to hear other people's stories, to know that like it's not just me. And I know it's not just me, but I think I just find some kind of solace in like relaxation, just kind of hearing others open up about the situation, just so that I can because I know I would, be able to just relate. And I just think it'll be cool just to be in a group setting. So yes, I did find one on Tuesdays that I said I'm gonna go and check out. So that's the plan. And I wish it was more than once a week, but that's the start.
Oh goodness, I think once a week generally is you need to
Is that
process.
standard?
Yeah. I mean, rapid therapy, which is probably 2 or 3 times a week, is still being researched, but mostly that once a week because you need to process a lot of that stuff and then come back and reflect. Yeah, because what my dad, who I was very close to, he flew in tonight from Nigeria, and within a week, he went to the hospital because his sugar levels are high. Caught pneumonia in the hospital. When he was recovered from that, caught COVID and died in the hospital. I couldn't go. Yeah, caught COVID and died after. So he was here on holiday, and this was during the lockdown, and I couldn't get to see him. But every day they were talking about the oxygen levels, and so it was like, yep, it looks as if it was getting worse and it wasn't improving. And I stood on Hezekiah. I was like, Lord, Hezekiah said he wasn't going to die, and you gave him 15 more years. I mean, I was like,
come on.
But having God say, look, there's nothing he can't do, but this was his will, his perfect will for my dad to go. It was almost as if, wow. So I had to give in to God's perfect will. And and so I knew my dad would probably want to stay around and everything, but
my mom was not ready to go either. She was not ready to go.
Yeah, no, no, my dad definitely wasn't. He was like, let's pray and everything. But I do remember the morning. I couldn't sleep all night praying, and God said in the morning said, "Look, this is His perfect will," and I was ready to give in, and I was on my way taking my kids to school, and I had a conversation with God, and I was like, well, you know what? I'm not ready to step out of my dad's shoes. Because even though, I'm here's with me, my own family, my kids, but I just felt like I wasn't ready to not have my dad around. And he talked to me about, the Lord talked to me about Abraham. And Abraham was under his dad until he left, until his dad died. He didn't leave to start his journey. And I said, okay, Lord, I trust you. And then within 5 minutes, I get a call from the hospital saying your dad has just passed. And then it was on a speakerphone, so my kids are all listening and stuff. Their grandpa has passed. So I dropped him in school, and I was able to go see him. And I think the truth was that I saw his body, but I didn't see, he wasn't there, and I knew where he was and stuff. But it was tough. But I think no, it was no. It's not just seeing his body, but then I was like. But I had such a
but knowing where he is, though,
Yeah, I had such a peace knowing that he wasn't laying down there, that his spirit and soul was with the Father. I think the hardest part was the funeral, where all the family members, I mean, he had over thousands of people came out. And when they were giving testimony about him, that was the hardest part, because I knew my dad would have loved to have that. He would have loved to hear all that in person. So that was difficult. And sometimes, when I see an old person, my dad died at age 77. So when I hear somebody I see them on the news and they've just turned 78, I'm thinking, well, my dad was younger than him. And so those are the times when I'm thinking, like, come on, man, the Lord, you could have at least gotten him to 90 or so. But I'm then aware that, that he could have gone in a different way. He could have just died in a car crash or something like that, which would have been worse. The fact that he'd seen all of his family, he was staying with me, and I was the last person to see him and to send him off, was a sense of, okay, Lord, I have to completely trust, even though I don't understand.
Right.
Yeah, and ultimately, if you think about what Paul said, he said, "Look, if it's up to me, I'd rather I'd leave here and be with the Lord. That's the ultimate goal. But because of
That
you
part.
guys, I'm hanging around. But I'm
Yeah,
hanging
yeah.
around,
Yeah,
and I
like they're
think
good. Like they're good now. Your dad, my mom, they're wonderful.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're better off than we are. They are definitely, they are so much better off in heaven, with their maker versus here on earth. So, so they're good. But still that doesn't
No,
make
no,
it
goodness, no. Of course, yeah. The loss, the
for
heart.
us,
It's like
Yeah.
any time you go through trials and tribulations, you experience what you experience giving birth to Zach and all that stuff. As much as we celebrate him being 14 now, it doesn't take away the fact that, man, the first 14 days or 14 months of his life
Yeah.
was not the easiest.
Absolutely.
But then the thing about everything that we experience is supposed to be the testimony for others who are going through that, who don't have the same sort of level of faith. And
Yeah.
the fact that if somebody hears your story and sees how you've come out of it, and even if it's still tough, it's like, okay, that's a word in there. And so even with the loss of your mom, I mean, Jesus always would say, when Philip came to him and said, "Hey, Lord, some people want to see you," and he says, "Unless a grain falls to the ground and grows, it just becomes a grain. But when it gets planted, it produces many seeds." And a lot of times, when a general passes, there's a lot more that just spreads out from that. So when Jesus died, the
Yeah.
gospel
I
spread.
believe
When
that.
the disciples passed away, it kept growing and kept growing. And so, the seed that your mom planted around the world through even one or two people, then they affect other people and affect other people.
Absolutely. And she definitely had that, infectious spirit and like I said, she's very effective in that way. And I believe that, again, I may not understand it fully, but I know that God promises us 70 years in his word. So I know she had just celebrated 70 the month prior. She had just turned 70 in September. So, she lived a blessed life. Your father, 77, and like your father, my mom too was like, "Oh no, I'm going to live till I'm 90. Well, no, you said, that was you saying, "Hey, God, why can't dad live till 90? Mom was like, "I'll be here till I'm 99. I'm like, I always tell my sister and I, they were like, okay. But it's, it's all good, and now she's there, doing the work of the Lord in the kingdom. So
But
I'm
then
sure
it's
she's
the
busy.
fact that for yourself though, that's always the toughest part, because my dad was, it was in Nigeria with my mom, but he traveled, so it's in a way it's that sense of out of sight. I mean, I do miss the fact that we used to speak every other day. He had
Yeah.
this routine of calling me on my birthday and
Oh.
reciting the same story about when he found out he had a boy, that he was drunk in the streets of Liverpool, and they had to tell. And so every birthday, even when I was in America, he'll call it, even if it's 3 in the morning. He didn't know the time zone. I was in LA, and he'll call and say the same thing. So of course, the first year after he passes, the phone doesn't ring, and it's like, oh man.
I
So
know.
yeah, and so so those are those type of routines, and sort of being in, and I guess for yourself, being in the same house, and if it's breakfast, if it's Sundays, if it's all these things, and those type of
Everything. Everything. Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot. My sister lives in a different state, but she, like mentioned a routine that she and my mom had. She's like, I call mom every day after work. And she's like, that was my person to call. Like every day I got off, like I'd always call her. Now I'm like, just call me, sis, like same. And I know those habitual things are just kind of it's rough. You got to undo those things, and that's not always easy, especially when you've gotten used to them for so long. I mean, I'm just used to, it's too many things to name because like I said, I mean, we lived together. She lived with me for years and I I just still see her, you know? So it's gonna take some time, but um, you know, I'm working through it. I'm working through it. I'm better.
Yeah.
Like, listen, had this been January or February, friend, would not be talking right now. Trust me. So I'm making, you know, slowly but surely, I'm making my little waves, trying to get stronger. Because January and February was, whew, that was really, really rough for me. Super rough. I had a hard time. And then March was my birthday. So that's when I started coming alive a little more and, you know, living a little bit more. So since then, I've been doing a little better, but it's up and down. I'm not gonna lie. It's, you know, I could be having a good day, if you will, and then sometimes something will just make me think about it, or I'll just have a random thought, you know, about it, and just be like, "Dang, is it really real?" You know, because it just still doesn't
Yeah.
seem.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. I know
it
that.
still
Yeah.
seems. Yeah, it just. I'm sure you go through that with your dad. It just still seems like it's not, like it didn't happen. Like it just feels like, wait a minute, mom really is like she's really gone. Like she
Yeah.
really all of a sudden got cancer and she really died. Like it's like I talk to myself like that out loud in the house some days. I really do. I look around, I'm like, dang it. And I, you know, and I'll just be like, dang it, lady, like you really left. Like I have those moments where I'm like, because I used to, she and I, like, I would call her girl. I'd be like, girl, girl, you left me for real? Like, are you really gone?
Yeah.
You know, we're like sisters. Like she, myself, and my sister were all really close. You know,
Mm,
she raised us to be really close knit, and so yeah, my sister and I just still like tripping. Like we
yeah.
just can't believe it's real, but it's, you know, we'll be fine. We're not the first person to lose a parent. It's just like I said, you just never imagine it happening to you, you know?
No, but I guess the other thing is mainly how being able to be vulnerable is probably the most important thing. That being strong is probably, you know, my son, who's, how old is Andrew? Andrew's 8. Well, no, he's not 8. He's 6. When he, you know, he may bump his head. Oh, yesterday he was shutting the car door and he got his hands stuck. I used to be able, before I would pretend as if nothing has happened just to toughen him up. Come on, you can't be crying over that. But I started to learn that, man, no, I need to let him be vulnerable and say, oh, is it hurt? And he cries and I console him. Because if I don't do that, I'm teaching him how to not really embrace emotions. Now,
Mhm.
I do this as a job, but I wasn't doing that with my kids. So come on, boys, don't cry.
Right,
Come on, this
right,
and stuff. But I had to start to learn that, man, if I'm grieving, if I'm tired, I need to say that I'm struggling and I let them go through that. And so I no more brave faces. You
Mhm.
know, I don't need to pretend to be someone that I'm not, because I don't want my kids to see that, oh, it's not okay to be okay, not okay. And I need to show that, you know, I'm exhausted, I'm stressed out, and I need a break.
All of it. Yeah. I'm so happy to hear you say that. You know, that's a thing here in America with Black men, you know, like, don't cry. You know what I mean? Like, don't show your emotions, or be tough, you know, and suck it up, shake it off, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, man, we are all human at the end of the day. And it's okay to show that. It's okay as a man to have tears if you want to, you know, it's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel defeated. It's okay to feel, you know, like we want to just express emotion and not be a tough guy for the day. Like that's a real thing. And vulnerability um is definitely an emotion or a thing that I think a lot of us struggle with, female and male, you know, especially our males. Absolutely. I'm very sensitive, and I'm learning that I'm extremely emotional. While I'm very guarded at times and try to have like this, you know, like this hard front, like I got it, I got it, I got it, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good, I'm strong, I'm strong, I'm strong. Because that was my mom. Like my mom was this like superwoman who was just like always strong, you know, even through her journey with, the cancer, just watching her with that battle, like she didn't break much at all. And then, towards the end, she finally started getting emotional here and there. But overall, like, I know there were days where she wanted to probably cry, or maybe she did and didn't show me.
Yeah.
I think she kept a lot of that from me because she didn't want me to be sad or, worried probably, or afraid or what have you. So I think she kept a lot of it to herself. But as Black people, we are trained a lot to our women and our men to be strong and withhold
Mhm.
emotion, and to kind of suppress vulnerability and to internalize. And I have a bad habit of sometimes holding things in and internalizing my feelings and just trying to keep it moving and, hold them back. But I'm a crier. Shoot, and when it comes out, it comes out. And but even with, dealing with this with the passing of my mom, it's times where, so my aunt just left my house. She came here for a few days to help me with my son, and because I had to go work, and she said I had to go travel, and she and I were just sitting at the table reminiscing about my mom and my grandfather, who passed away as well. My grandparents are deceased. They were in their 90s actually, and we were just talking about my grandfather and my mom, and I just got emotional out of the blue, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, like what? No, 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 no. Like, where's this coming from? I don't want to cry. She's like, no, let it out. It's healthy. Like, you need to. And I'm like, no, 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 no. I don't want to cry today. I don't want to be sad. I don't want to cry today. And so I just like, like made my tears go
Oh,
away, and I like sucked them in, and
oh
it's
goodness.
probably not even a good thing. But I'm just like, I don't want to cry today. Dang it, I cry all the time.
No, goodness,
I,
no.
I just don't. I just didn't want to be sad in that moment.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I remember when
I do recognize it. I recognize it, and I know that it's okay to be vulnerable.
my high school class did a condolence visit because, as I mentioned, because of the lockdown, so they had to do it virtual. And up to that time, I hadn't really had any tears. And yeah, in fact, with the day my dad died, I went to renew my passport and said, okay, I need, because he died here and I had to fly him back to Nigeria. And so I was fine. And then, when they would, there was about 20 or 30 of them online talking to me about, okay, so how, hope you're doing well. And I'm just like, feel strong. And then they all showed that they made a generous contribution towards the funeral.
Mm.
And then I kind of lost it, and just in tears and everything. And I'm sure all elder guys were like, oh, everyone was shocked, like, wow, goodness, this guy's really just crying and oh. But
Right.
what happened was this the generosity of others that really touched me.
Mhm.
And but I said I needed that. I needed just to let it all out because then I felt like, oh goodness, that's great. And three other times throughout the whole process, I did let it out. And it just felt like a good release of emotion. I'm sure others was just surprised and shocked, but if to me it was like if I didn't do that,
Needed
it'll
it.
happen.
It
Yeah.
was necessary for you.
But as I said, unlike yourself, it's that I can't imagine, the fact that it's yourself and Zach and stuff, and myself, I've got, my wife's here, my three kids here, my mum, and dad didn't live with me, so it was holidays. Although I did always think for a good
Yeah.
year, it was like I felt that I needed to call somebody or stuff, and which was dad. But I think those are the natural routines and stuff. But in therapy or CBT, it's our thoughts, our feelings, and our behaviors. And right now, if your feelings are affected, either your thoughts or your behavior can make that change. And so generally our thoughts, we don't try and work on your thoughts and try and change your mindset. Well, we can through scripture and talk about, so scripture would then help change the thoughts patterns, which would then impact your feelings and then affect your behavior. But in
Mm.
some cases, changing your behavior can impact your thinking and impact how you feel. And some of those behaviors might be a new routine, maybe meeting up with different people and doing something different. That's a change of behavior. You start feeling a little bit better about that, and your mindset around where your mom is, and being blessed by the fact that she actually could leave Vegas to stay with you and support you. And actually, it gave you 5 wonderful years of actually having this close relationship, knowing that you had 5 years with her, where most people whose parents still stay in the 90s probably see them once a year, Christmas or Thanksgiving, and don't have what you had over that 5 years. So there's a lot of processing.
I mean, she retired and left her whole life in Vegas. For me, it was actually 10. I've been here 14 years in Atlanta. So she was 2 years behind me. She moved here about 2 years after me. So she was here going on 11 years, I think, when she passed. She was in the same house with me the last 5 years, but moved here, like, it was on her own for the first 6 that she was here. So in general, like, she was, she relocated and was here with me like a decade, and I have to remind myself, like you said, that, like, hey, I have friends who lost their mom at 12 years old. One of my close friends from high school lost her mom at 12, I think, to cancer. She was a kid, At least I have gotten to experience and have and share with the world and with my family, my mom, at least what I was. Well, oh God, I hate to say my age, but thank you, God, it's a blessing. I just turned 45, so I had my mom 44 years.
Wow.
That's a lot. Some people can't say that. A lot of people can't say that. So that's how I choose to look at it. So you're right. It's the mindset and just different behaviors, hanging around different people, looking at things differently. Absolutely. Of course, scripture, my mom fussed at me all the time about got on my case all 44 years of my life. Definitely, like, stand in that word, and that being my shield and my sword and my armor, so but you're right, and that's what I've really been trying to get better at and stronger with, just my relationship with God and my studying of the word to just kind of help with this.
Yeah, that changes the mindset. Yeah. And then, and as I said, it's the thoughts, feelings, and behavior. So if your thoughts are, I'm afraid of dogs, you feel scared, the thing you do is run away. So that's how, as a CBT fellow, that's how we look at those 3 patterns. So your thoughts about, oh, why did you take mom? I'm sad and I'm depressed. Then your behavior is to withdraw, not eat. And so we look at those 3 and say, okay, we need to make some changes to get you out of that state. So to attack the thoughts, is scripture is one area. And then some of the behaviors would be being grateful.
Listen,
so for me,
easy to go down the tubes, man. Like, it's so easy if you're not grounded and don't have some type of relationship, with God or Christ or higher being or whomever you worship, or I don't know if you don't worship any, I don't know how you survive if you don't. No judgment. I'm just saying, like, for me, like, you have to have something, something that you believe in, is my point. To keep your mind just stable and sane, and because it's been days, I'm not gonna lie, that I felt like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it, and your mind starts playing tricks on you, and all of that, and mental health is a real thing, and depression is a real thing, sadness, grief, all of that is a real thing, especially when you're by yourself a lot. I isolate a lot, and that may not be wise, but that's just my life. I'm just not I love people, and I could be a social butterfly. I know how to turn it on, but when it's off, it's off.
Yeah.
And but you have to be careful of that. Do you know what I'm saying? Because
you mentioned that your mom was like that, and it's quite easy to pick that up. That's why I mentioned how I have to change how I am towards my kids. I can't grow up with that sense of we have to be strong. So I'm teaching my kids, no, be sad, and I'll cry with you if I need to, because and so that's breaking that change. I mean, I had one young person who was about 6, and her mum she was always anxious to go to school because then if she just coughs and mom says, "Oh, we need to take you to the doctor,"
Mm.
she got that from her own mom, who has a doctor's appointment every week just in case she gets sick. So she already has a doctor's appointment next week just in case she's sick. And so all of a
Oh,
sudden that passes. So then now that health anxiety is going to spread through the generations
yeah,
because
yeah,
it's been allowed to do that. So if you don't see it and then break the chain, it will just continue going.
yeah. Got to break those generational curses, and those patterns of learned behavior, and because I'm sure there's things that, my mother probably learned from her parents who learned from
Yeah,
their,
yeah.
like you said, it's just, yeah, it's chains that
On
I think.
reflection, though, would you have wanted your mum to be a lot more, wow, I'm scared and worried and just been a lot more emotional, or do you think that would have made you scared? Like, whoa, if mom's scared, then what's this? What do you
Right.
think?
Right, because in my eyes, in my mind, my mom wasn't scared of anything. Like that lady was, telling you, she had a very strong, I guess because she was a single mom. Like her and my dad were married for a few years, and um, they were together in my like younger childhood. But for most of my life, my mom was a single mom of two girls. So she was mom and dad, you know what I mean?
Mm.
And like when they were together, my mom was always the disciplinarian. Like my dad, he he was not, I don't know if it's because we were girls, but he was not hard on us at all. But my mom, on the other hand, like, oh Lord, we were scared of my mom. She's like gangster, honey. So we were my sister and I did not get in trouble often. We didn't get spankings often because we knew all she had to do is give us a look. Okay. So we did not try her often. That's my mom. And so yeah, she didn't have a whole lot of, if she was scared, I didn't know it. She played it
Mm.
off really well. But I'm not, I'm not I'm like her. A lot of people tell me. So first of all, I'm her twin. I do look a lot like her. I look a lot like my mom, like a whole lot. But I'm not like her in that way. Like I have a little bit of her. The apple doesn't fall far, but I sometimes do wish I was like her in that she seemed fearless, because I'm not that way sometimes. Like I'm just not. Like she had no filter. You know what I'm saying? Like she was vocal and would not be afraid of what people would think with her opinion. She was very strong in her opinion. And very like, I said it, I meant it, I said what I said, and okay, you know what I mean. And like I'm like halfway there.
Mm.
Like I've gotten better the older I've gotten. Like the older I've gotten, I'm definitely way more outspoken, and I will definitely speak my mind and speak my truth. But like, yeah, Mama was way more like gangster lean than me. She was, honey, she's a tough cookie. But you're right. We learn, we see these things and we learn and or mimic these things for sure. And so we do have to be careful what we showcase in front of our children.
Yeah.
I know, Zach watches me like a hawk. Every time I look up, his eyes are on me, and I'm like, oh Lord, let me. And I wish he wouldn't, because I am a hot mess. So especially right now, like I'm a little all over the place right now.
But when he sees you crying, what does he say or do?
So I try not to cry in front of him. When he does ask about my mom, which, like I said, it's only been twice so far, but it's caught me off guard each time. Um, what I've noticed I've done is just kind of wipe the tears real quick and talk to him. I don't know if I should or shouldn't do that, but that's what I've done. Um, I know when I was young, when he was younger, and I used to fake cry, he used to be bothered by it. Now that he's older, my mom always fake cry with him and be like, "Oh my God, like Zach, you hurt grandma's feelings." He laughs
Okay.
like he thinks it's funny when she would do that. So now that he's older, I don't know that he cares if I would with the tears, because he laughs now that he's older. He thinks it's a joke.
Yeah.
Um, he'll like, that was their thing. She would always fake cry with him, and he would just be so tickled. He's so goofy, but that was him and grandma's thing. Whenever he would be like he wouldn't share, she would always ask him like for something to eat of his or whatever, and he wouldn't share. He'd be like, no, and she would always do this fake cry, like, oh my God, Jack, I can't believe you won't give me any or whatever. He thought it was, I mean, he really was tickled. I'm like, you are so mean. Why are you laughing? How do you laugh? You laughing at like grandma crying? You're horrible. But
Yeah.
so now that he's a teenager, I think he just like it rolls off of his back. But I
Mm.
noticed when he was a little toddler and I would like fake cry, or if I would close my eyes and act like I was asleep, he would walk up to me. I don't remember this
And
happening
lift up the eyelid. Yeah, I know. Yeah,
all
yeah.
the time, right? And I would be like, what is that? And it's like, can I not go to sleep? And I get not get any? Yes, sir. It bothered him, but I would see like this concern in his face when he was younger.
Mm,
Like I think he was like almost like a fear, you know. It
mm,
was a discomfort more so.
yeah.
So I think he just didn't understand it. Now he could give a darn. He doesn't care. So I don't know what he would do if I really just let it out in front of him. In my mind, I think he would just look at me and maybe laugh, because maybe it's nervous laughter, maybe, you know. I don't really know. I just try to I try not to go there with him because I don't want to. I've told myself that I want to be strong in front of him, because I just feel like, because he's on the spectrum and because he's already somewhat delayed in terms of his comprehension, I feel bad that he doesn't understand what happened to grandma. And so that makes me in turn subconsciously want to just be strong and not break down in front of him, because I'm like, okay, he's already confused. Grandma already all of a sudden is just disappeared. And
Mm.
I don't want to make it more uncomfortable for him. That's my rationale. I don't know if that makes sense, but so I choose not to cry in front of him like that.
I mean, when I'm working with parents whose child struggles with anxiety and worry, the one thing I try and get the parents to try and learn to help the child is to normalize. But
Mm.
then how do you do that is sometimes explain when you feel nervous or anxious or worried. Like,
Hello.
oh, when I had to start a new job, or
Mhm.
when I got this call. So then the child then is able to see this in action and actually realize, oh, mom and dad can get upset or get scared or get worried, and it's okay. So when you're trying to teach them the various emotions of sad, anger, either
Yeah.
jealousy or whatever the emotions are, um, Inside Out's a very good example of the different emotions and learning those ones, the animation stuff. But if I tell try and get parents, yeah, let them know that when you started work, you were nervous. So it then helps them realize that, normalize that actually getting anxious is normal, that even as an older person, you can get anxious. And it
Yeah.
doesn't mean that it's good, but you learn how to power through it, as opposed to making them feel as if this is an impossible feat. If no one else has achieved it, no one has, just me, and then they feel as if, no, I have to give up. So yeah, normalizing emotions is where else is he going? Where else are they going to learn emotions if it's not at home? They're not going to learn it in school. They may read a book, but they see their family every day and they learn from those things. Like you're learning how to be strong in the face of sadness.
Right.
You learn it from home, and then, as I said, some people might think that's probably, it might have been better if you did learn the emotional side, that, well, I'm strong, I have my faith in God, but if it's God's will, but I don't want to leave, but and I don't want to leave you guys, and maybe if you'd learned that side, it might have been a different case. Only God knows. But yeah,
Right.
it's up. Yeah, if it might be, yeah, trying to make, I would always advise just trying to be as open as you can so that he learns it and in his own way.
Well, and so that he knows, like, mom doesn't have superpowers, because like, so one of the things that he's really afraid of, it has been since he was a toddler, are bugs, anything that flies. So since he was a little boy, he
Mm,
really spazzes out like really, really bad. Like when
mm,
he was little, it would be leaves. Because if it's windy and the leaves
yeah.
are, oh my God, he would run, he just would freak out. And then it was birds after that. And now it's anything that flies, like um, butterfly, bee, moth, anything, any kind of bug that flies. Like he really, really, really freaks out. Pretty intense. It's pretty intense.
Mhm.
And so I'm I'm the worst because I so when I'm with him and that happens, I'm always like, Zach, it's not gonna hurt you. And I'll be like, look, I have to gather him. And I say, look at mommy, because he's so fixated on the bug. And I mean,
Mm.
he is frozen and he spazzes. And I'm like, stop looking at it, Zach. Look at me. It's not looking at you. Look at me. Look at me. And I try to get him. I said, listen, who's bigger, Zach or the bug? Who's bigger? You know, and I'm trying to say, and he'll say, Zach. And I'm like, yes, you are big. The bug is little. It does not want to harm you. It's like, I'm like, it's playing. It's playing with its friends. It's looking for food. It's not bothering. He is not listening to anything I'm saying. The whole time he's like, and I'm just like, okay. But then here I am doing all of this and let that thing get close to me, and I'm just as bad.
Are you serious?
I'm like, oh my God, Meelah, you're not being a good example. So I try to play it off, but I'm just like, oh Lord. So in that sense, I'm like, I don't know that I should show him that I'm just as scary as he is of bugs, because it's like defeating the purpose of the point that I'm trying to make.
Not necessarily, because if he sees that you're also afraid of it, but how are you coping with it?
Yeah.
It's not about whether you're afraid or not afraid. It's how, despite my
That's
fear,
right.
I'm still able to cope with it. So
That's right. Yeah,
that's what you want to
just
normalize.
shoo it. Yeah, I said, just go shoo. I said, just say, go get. I said, and my mom and I would always tell him that. Where I was like, just say, get out of here, and he'll just be like, he'll try to say it, but he's like, forget y'all. I'm not buying what y'all are selling, and he just freaks out.
Yeah. The idea of when you try and see the world through the eyes of a young person is to see what does that look like and mean. And then it's like, well, how do you cope in the midst of that? Because there are always going to be insects and bugs around. So
Right.
what can we do to get rid of it? And sometimes you can put on a force field, maybe a watch that's like a force field. So it means that they're flying around, but they can't come close and stuff. And this is what you use because you're afraid of bugs and you have this little rope around you. And so it means that they're flying around, but they can't touch you. And you may show them a cartoon or so that has a film that has some of the force field. But but as long as he, trying to say, look, they're around, but how are we going to cope with that? But as I said, he needs to know that you freaked out.
Yeah. He doesn't even like to take walks and go outside much because of it. And I'm just like, he really freaks out.
Yeah. But that's what I mentioned. If you especially if you're on the spectrum, that's where you get creative. And even if you had like a spray, a insect repellent, and say, look, it gets rid of them. So it means they fly around, but they can't come any closer to you. And then that becomes something like, now, if I'm trying to treat anyone from anxiety, that's considered a safety behavior, and we rule that out because it doesn't get rid of the anxiety. It just means that it just helps you through it. So normally, but if I'm dealing with someone on the spectrum, I know it's completely different. All rules are off, and it's about how to help them manage in those situations. So I would have just get about instant repellent. Means that anything that flies around doesn't really come on, but it's almost, for him, it's amplified, like it's some special stuff. It does more. In fact, you start to put it on yourself first and then let him do it. And then it's like, okay. And then you start to, all right, let's go out together. I've sprayed it on, you spray it on, because I don't like bugs as well. And then we see it and let's see if the butterfly is going to come near us and stuff. And then all of a sudden that becomes the sort of experiment, a behavior experiment, and he starts to see, okay, it doesn't really happen. And next time you play a little bit more, maybe less. And that's a way of helping him cope with the anxiety as opposed to trying to get rid of it.
Yeah, no, and that's a great idea. I'm open to trying that. Sure, but the Lord have mercy. Zach he's so dramatic. It's like it's like he anticipates. I could just say, but that's a good idea because I try different things. And so maybe if we get the repellent, the can of spray or whatever, and just, maybe if I tell him like, to use it like as if he was in I don't know, like some kind of character, and this is the bug spray that's gonna help.
But you're doing it together.
Fight it off. Yeah,
we're doing it together, and we're going to go out and we'll spend 5 minutes to see if any of the bugs, if it works, and then it comes out no insect. See, it works. Then we go out next time. We do 10 minutes, And then all of a sudden that becomes the learned behavior that, okay, actually it does work. It's an experiment. And it's supposed to be a shift in mind. If does he watch any, if he has a film or cartoon or stuff that he watches, there's some of them that do have people that have force fields on, and it's a way of saying, okay, they've got, this is like a force field that keeps us away from the insects, and but we'll do some small experiments and to just show how it does work. But also normalized it, because mommy doesn't like bugs and insects, so he knows. And this is what I have to tell you a little secret, Zach. I actually don't like bugs and insects, but you know how I'm able to manage? I started to use this little insect repellent that scares them away. So that's my little secret. So I'm gonna share it with you, and we're gonna go outside and I'll show you how it works.
Keep him landed, like, because he's gonna run, and before we can even use the darn repellent, he's out of there.
No, but you just go to the front door and hang out for a bit. You don't go.
Yeah.
Graded. That's what you call it. Baby steps. Like graded exposure means you slowly expose yourself to it, and then each day you expose a little bit of it. So you don't just rush out there. It's like someone who's afraid of snakes. You don't just then put them in a room with a snake. It's like maybe see a picture of a snake and you see them in a cage and you touch the cage and you just bit steps. So yeah, it's what I do for a living. But as I said, but someone on the spectrum, you become very creative in these type of things because you need them to be more. It's very practical, sometimes visual. You need to bring in different things. It's like, it's like my invisible force field, so they can't see us, actually. It's like the bugs, this is, and if they have the picture of an insect repellent, it should have like a bug on it and it says, see, this means that they can't see us. So when we go out there, the bugs can't see us. No, people can, but the insects can't, so they can't come near us. You just play around like that to see which one he gravitates to.
Yeah, look, thank you. I hear you. We'll see. We live in the South in Georgia, so there's some interesting bugs flying around out here. They are huge and they are a bit intimidating, but you're right. That you got to start somewhere, and that's a cool idea. Just and it'll hopefully we'll be able to, the increments will increase.
Yeah, in how you do it. But how did you go around? When did you write your book? Because I'm shocked to see that you had during Autism Awareness Month that you had a book out. I'm thinking, when did she get to write this?
You know what? So I wrote it years ago. It's a very short story. It's a rhyming book, like a Dr. Seuss vibe with the whole rhyming. I like the books that rhyme. So I wrote it years ago, years, but I just been sitting on it. And when COVID happened, I'm like, okay, we're just all at home. And it was during Zach's 6th grade year. He's in 8th now. So yeah, during 6th grade, it's when I started to work with the illustrator and the woman who helped me to put it out. And it's crazy because my mom actually started illustrations with me before COVID happened, because she can. Oh my gosh, that was one of her hidden gifts, hidden talents. That lady can draw. I can't draw to save my life, but she draws so well. And she would always draw, like, for myself, my sister, my niece, like when we had little projects in school and had to draw things, book reports and whatnot. She would always, I guess I cheated because my mom would always draw my stuff. Because she can look at something and just sketch it.
Okay.
And so she was supposed to illustrate for me, but then she ended up getting her diagnosis, and so I didn't want to bother her with that. But yeah, so while we were just homeschooling, which was so grueling, so that thing almost took me out. I'm serious. That was that was the start of depression. I'm so serious. Like I did not know what I was facing. I didn't know that was going to affect me that way, but it did. It was rough, man. That thing was hard. And I only had one child, so I don't want to complain, but it was hard. Like being on, because see, that was Zach in my first year in middle school. We transitioned from elementary, here in America, elementary is grades 1 K through 5, kindergarten through 5th grade is elementary school, and then middle school is 6, 7, 8.
Mm.
So we transitioned on the computer from elementary school that we've been in for 5 years, K through 5, to this new middle school with new teachers, new system, new everything, and new hours. I'm used to the elementary hours. Middle school hours were from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. every day. 9 to 4. That is almost an 8-hour job.
Yeah.
9 to 4 with a special needs kid on the computer.
Yeah.
And I'm constantly having to print out all the work. We had to have lots of paper.
Yeah.
That was a stipend. They didn't give us parents any money to go and get all this stuff. Had to constantly have, paper and print, what do you call it, ink, and it was just intense. It was intense because I had to stop. I couldn't go work at all. I mean, of course, we were all kind of chilling because we were quarantining, but
Yeah.
I had to stop whatever life I thought I had. I literally had to, because I couldn't leave my 12-year-old by himself to, interact with his teachers. You could leave the average, 6th grader to go ahead and get it done. No, we're not saying they want to, they're kids, but I'm saying, but in Zach's case, no, he literally needed assistance. He's autistic, so I couldn't leave his side that much. Computer was shut down sometimes, you had to restart, or sometimes the teacher would be needing certain things that only I could understand, that I needed to assist him with. It was a lot. Oh, that thing wore me out. Anyway, so that's not what we're talking about. So anyway, during that, while he was on the computer, I would step away a little bit and have meetings like this, Zoom sessions, putting the book together, coming up with the drawings with the illustrator, coming up with the font, coming up with, how I wanted it to look, the cover, just really piecing it together. We went through that for about, we went back and forth about 6 to 8 months, and then my mom's health turned for the worse.
Yeah.
And COVID and life just was happening for everybody, so we paused it. And then if you look at the book, I think it says on there 2021, maybe even, like, I put it out, or 2022, I can't remember. I put it out, but I didn't even announce it. It's been out there for a minute. But my mom passed, and so she got sicker, and life for me just, nothing mattered at the time. So it's just been there chilling. Because I was like, it has to have a proper setup, but when she passed, I just was like, okay, I'll just wait and tell folks about it later. So now was the time, it's been out for a minute, and it's April, Autism Awareness Month, and I was just like, let me just go ahead and let people know, hey, I wrote a book. It's here. It's on Amazon. It's at Barnes Nobles, and now is now is as good of a time as ever to do it, to go ahead and promote it and put it out there. My mom was really happy for me and happy about it. Of course, she was bummed that she couldn't partake in the illustrations as we originally planned, but I'm just happy that she got to see that I did it before she passed.
Is there any guilt when trying to promote the books in any way?
No, not at all. No, because I mean, it's really been like a year just sitting there,
And the publishers didn't say, come on, aren't you going to help?
No, they completely understood. They were very, very understanding. The good thing is that, okay, and also I will say this too, I had there were a few oversights and a few things that I, wanted to change and things like that. So that also took time as well. We had a few turnovers and a few things that I wanted to remix and do differently. So, oh God, unfortunately, I think folks were ordering. And listen, let me just disclaimer, if you ordered a book before I announced it and you got a book that had a page twice, order mercy.
Special edition.
Exactly. Please forgive me, because I saw that and I freaked out. So things like that also had me like, wait, because it had to be right,
Oh, how did that happen?
How did it happen? I'm like, how do you print a page twice? Oh, I was sick. But anyway, yeah, I'm my first time out there. It's new to me. I was just like, okay, whatever. Let's just fix it. So yes, this is my first My first effort as a children's book author. I'm so excited. It's called Zach's Favorite Socks.
Okay.
I have some copies over there. Actually, I'm just gonna hold one up for you. Let me see. I have so many copies here, but they're everywhere. There's like all on the floor everywhere in the house.
Well, what did the inspiration? What did he think of it?
Oh, Zach. Oh, Zach is nonchalant about everything
Even
except
if you saw his name, we saw it.
he don't care about nothing but that iPad and YouTube. He is a true 14-year-old nowadays. He is so just in his own world. And he looked at it and was just like, and mind you, he has a collection of books out of this world. He loves collecting books. He does not like to read them at all. Well, I'm like, come on, dude. You can't ask me to buy you all these books. We're running out of space to store them, but you don't want to read them. Like, he does not want to read them. He just likes to line them up, have them in a certain section, and he'll flip the pages. He likes looking at the pictures. But when it comes time for him to use his words and read them, he doesn't. So he saw it and he probably was like, oh God, please don't ask me to read. I don't. He associates it with schoolwork too much, I think.
But then do you read? Are you a reader?
Yes. Well, I used to really, really read a lot. I slowed down. I don't read as much as I used to, but I've learned that that's a really healthy space for me. It helps to kind of just ease my mind. It's therapeutic. So I'm going to get back into it. I have boxes and boxes of books. My God, that I used to travel with books. I used to read a whole lot. Like, I love all types of different books. Mostly, I would mostly read fiction, of course. I used to read like the romance books back in the day. And then when I matured and grew up some, I started reading a lot of self-help books. But I stopped that because I started feeling guilty. Because my mother was like, girl, the only self-help book out there is the Bible. And so
well, actually what they do is they actually take out Jesus, and then it's the same self-help book that he's, his words are there and is no different, give and being forgive and, planning what your mind is, everything.
Yeah, there's a lot of different. So what I discovered was, because with all the philosophical books, it's like they take a piece of Buddhism and a piece of Christianity, a piece of this, a piece of that, like you said, and they integrate it, and it's all just one big hodgepodge of being kind.
Yeah, well, no, it is. I took a leadership course when I was still doing before I turned into therapy, and they pretty much says, look, the ultimate leader is the self-sacrificing one like Jesus, and then a dictator is the worst type of leader you can be. And so they're pretty much, and everything they were teaching, Maslow's hierarchy, everything's based on scripture, everything. So. Yeah. But it doesn't mean that they're bad to read, because it's about learning different things. You can learn different things, and there's a lot of wisdom in the Bible. But there's still other people that got inspired to write about other things that you can write. But do you read with Zach?
I used to. I don't as much anymore. When he was younger, all the time when he was younger. Now that he's 14, not so much. But yes, when he was younger, I would read at bedtime, or sometimes I would just read just to kind of strengthen his reading. Because he learned how to read really young. We got him My Baby Can Read when he was
okay.
Remember that program?
Yeah.
And he could read like super early, before first grade. But what we learned was, because they advanced him, they were like, oh my gosh, you can read. Oh my gosh. But then what they realized was that, but he does not comprehend what he's reading.
The comprehension. Yeah.
He struggles pretty I shouldn't say severely, but he struggles quite a bit with the comprehension of the stories. He's gotten better the older he's gotten. I've noticed, like, with repetition, like with everything with them, in middle school, the repetition of the stories, and I think the repetition of how they're teaching them, with reading comprehension, he definitely has gotten better. But he gets frustrated with it, and therefore he don't want to see a book. He don't want to hear a book. he he is over it. He's just like, I'm good. So I don't really get to him as much anymore. No. Listen, I'm like, dude, I'm gonna start opening these books up again. We're going to start practicing reading. And he just looks at me like with this face of gloom and doom. He does not want to do it. But I know it would be good for him for several reasons. He's just not interested. And I'm just at the point with him where I'm really just choosing my battles. I don't want to force, a lot of things on him. No, he is not, the parent, and he's not running the show. However, I just don't want it to be counterproductive, And so,
yeah, I'm dyslexic and I don't like reading, and it's but I learned to audio things are easier for me,
mm,
and I until before I got my diagnosis, when I see, how old is my son now? He's 12 going on to 13, but when he was 5 and 6, and he was an advanced reader, so I'm reading to him. And because of my dyslexia, there's certain words that I couldn't pronounce, and I'm trying to mumble through it, and he's correcting me, and I was like, "Oh my goodness!"
right.
It was tough, but but I know that there are battles that you take, and when I work with kids who have social anxiety, I said, look, my job isn't to get you to do whatever you don't want to do. If you're socially anxious, and it's affecting you doing day-to-day stuff, then we have to work on it. But if it's like you'd like to stay in your room playing on your games, and you don't necessarily want to go out and hang out with people, then I'm not going to help you, because that's not what you want to do. So unless they say, yeah, you know what, I actually want to be able to do this, but I'm too anxious to do it, then it's like, okay, piece of cake. So
Right.
yeah, it's
I mean,
learning.
it's a learning curve for me as a parent, even. I mean, what you just mentioned is what Zach would love to do. Just sit in his room, not come out, not associate with other people,
Yeah.
and stay on his iPad and watch YouTube. And that's his comfort zone, He
Yeah.
doesn't he doesn't want to interact with a whole lot of folks. He just doesn't. Leave it to him. He'll come outside and get, a little fresh air for a few minutes, maybe to have something to eat. And he loves going to the restaurant and maybe go to the movies. He likes going to the movies with his dad. That's their thing, that he enjoys. But he's like, after that, like he's like, all right, take me right on back in. He just does not enjoy being out like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
But
and
the
like
only
I
thing I could say about that would mainly just be, a schedule where he can do the bulk of what he loves to do, but that
yeah,
would mean that he has to sacrifice things that you like to do. And it might be going for the walk with the bugs, or it
yeah,
might be
exactly.
going to a
Yeah, give or
restaurant
take.
together. But then it's like you don't, yeah. So those are the ways of really, and then reward charts help with that as well. But choosing the right type of battles, if it is to, you can't force him to socialize if he doesn't want to. Um, you know,
Listen,
I've got a young kid that I'm working with right now who is 14, and he just likes to be in his room playing his video games. So yeah, so that's always a challenge, because he just wants to do that. He has ADHD, but
okay, yeah, yeah.
yeah, he's
That's
that.
it. And it's like, listen, I have parents that are like, girl, that's not just kids on the spectrum. That's all kids at that age.
You,
That's
yeah, yeah,
all they want to do. And I'm like, yeah, I guess so. Then there's that. But I do want to start reading to him again, because like I said, he has so many books. And it's just like I look at all those books sometimes and I'm like, listen, I'm going to eventually donate these books because they're just there. But before I do, it would be really cool to just I just want to see his reaction, because I haven't read to him in a while. I wonder, I don't know how he would respond if he saw me with the book. Who knows? And I have so many,
Yeah, but one of his books, and it could be you read a page, he reads a page. I did that with the kids, and or you read out loud, and he doesn't necessarily need to this time around, but just mixing things up. And it is maybe, yeah, and because when I try and get my kids to read a couple of pages, then I say, what did you try and test their comprehension? What did you take from the story? And doesn't matter how little or how off it seems, it's like, well done. At least you're learning to read and take
Yeah.
something out of it.
It's
And so,
something. Mhm.
yeah, but then and that could be a fun. Yeah, what is he?
He
Yeah,
doesn't like that because they do that at school, as a assignment every day, reading comprehension. So they have to read the story, and I've looked at those stories. So while he's in an autistic class, like a what do you call it, special education autistic class, which is
yeah.
basically for, learning disabilities, those stories are still pretty intricate and in my opinion, still a bit advanced
Mm,
for Zach. But I'm not, I'm not challenging. It's a good thing, it's a really great curriculum. However, I know it's a lot for his brain, and so it's tough sometimes. I could just tell, even if they try to teach him to highlight certain things, because they have to read the story and then they have to answer questions, and sometimes the questions are multiple choice, and then they have to write sentences, what the story was about. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of work.
yeah, but you're looking at doing some more fun things. So you want to separate school work and reading
Yes.
to get, even if it's a comic or something, so it's more fun, it's more interactive,
Yeah.
it's a game out of it, and it's so
That's
it's
exactly.
yeah, so book doesn't reading a book isn't associated with school
Yeah, because
at
he's looking
all.
at me like, no.
Yeah, no, it's not school time. This is going to be a fun time. We, a puzzle because, mommy stopped reading, so I need you to help me. Let's read this. Let's read around to get to gay, and then the trying to interpret the story isn't writing it down. It's like, wow, this story reminds me of when I was a kid, and da da da. What does it remind you of? And then whatever he says, he says.
And well, and that's the thing. He's unable to really fully articulate,
Mm.
because of his language delay. He can say some things, say, hey, what was the story about? And if it was about Timmy who climbed a mountain and, then went and swam in the lake, I'll say, hey, what was it about? And he'll just be like, Timmy, and I'm like, actually, yes, it was,
Yeah,
you know,
but then yeah, and
you
he
know
could
what I
do the
mean?
basic,
But
yeah.
like the more and more in detail the questions become, like it gets a bit challenging for him, of
But that's
course.
where you just simplify it. So, what can you remember
Yeah.
the name of the guy? Oh, it's Timmy. Yep, yeah, Timmy. Yeah, Emmanuel. And what do you think if just Bay could be Bay? Basically, it's more so
Yeah.
less around him trying to do what he does in school, but just more of having making a fun thing out of just read it,
Right. Which is
just
why I look at the pictures. I think because he's
yeah, the
a
pictures, yeah,
visual learner, so that definitely helps. Because, and I also tell him with his schoolwork, just remember to look at the title, because most of the time the title of the story is ultimately what it's mostly about.
yeah,
So I try to tell him that. But like, even with me, with when I used to read, I also used to journal, and I don't do that anymore either. And I know those are habits that are healthy. So like when I would be reading the self-help books, like his class, I'd take my highlighter, and whether they were, like I said, talking about parts from, Buddha or Christianity or the Quran, whatever, I'm highlighting, all the sweet spots, if you will. And from every little, every different religion or what have you. And I would try to journal like overall what I learned from that chapter, what did I
yeah,
get out of it?
mm.
But my mom would challenge me and just be like, girl, Christianity, sit down. I love my mama. You gotta love Minister Marianne, honey. She's like, that's what I said. That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, yeah,
But,
yeah, yeah.
but if Zach was able to fully, I think, understand and adapt and, just gather, even if it's just bits and pieces of the story, to where it made sense for him, then I'm good with that. But in school, he's being graded, and so it's it's more like, no, it's more precise. No, that's the wrong answer. You know what I mean? Like, no, that's not right. But at home, like if he was just to give me like, yeah, like you said, like just name one thing. Oh, the mountain,
Yeah.
I'll take it, and then I'll be like, well, what about the mountain? What did he do? I'll push it a little bit, but I'm not gonna like.
Yeah, yeah. But you also want to separate the two. As I said, you don't want it to be an assessment at
All right,
home
let's not do a quiz, Mom.
yeah, no, it's just read together. And even if you do, and even if it is, if he is able to read, then you read a page, he reads a page, and then that's it. He doesn't necessarily need to give any comprehension because he's doing that in school. But this is just a different style. That could create something different. That could create something different. What is the name of your book so that we can make sure that
yeah, because we're gonna hop off. We're not gonna talk for 3 hours today. Hold on. Okay. I know how we do. Oh, I think they're over here somewhere. Oh my gosh. I just can't help but give him a little quiz because I'm just so focused on. I think I just want to see where his comprehension is. So it's just a habit, just me trying to push a little bit and see like how far he's come with his comprehension. But you're right. I'm not gonna give him a quiz every time. Let's just read and have a mommy son moment.
Yeah, that making it fun. As I said, you want to disassociate what you do in school and stuff.
It's true. So I feel like all the other copies that are the right copies are downstairs, but y'all don't know this is not the right copy.
Zach's favorites. Yeah, we can see it.
Favorite socks. Yes. Zach's favorite socks. So Zach is obsessed with socks in real life. So I was raised to where I couldn't. My mom just would cringe when she saw us walking barefoot. So always had to have something on our feet. Always.
Wow.
Yes. Always in the house, right? So I kind of raised Zach the same way. In that he just always had to have socks on. Wow. Some kind of little booty or slippers or, and so now though it's to the point to where he will not go to bed without socks. I'm like, you could take them off now. Like,
what you've trained me all this time, and now you want to try.
I've trained him to not walk on the cold floor in the winter with no shoes on. You're gonna get sick. But but he's obsessed with socks. So like he loves them so much to where it'll be 90 degrees. It's summertime, and that boy sleeps in socks. I'm like, how do you do that? I can't sleep.
You taught me, Mom, because Grandma taught you. So what do you mean? How do I do that?
I want you to wear them on the cold floor, not in the bed.
You said walking around without shoes on.
Yeah, listen, we could not walk around barefoot. Like it was a real thing. My mom would be like, put something on your feet, and I do it with Zach. It's a habit now. He always has socks on or slippers on.
What about yourself?
I didn't tell him to put them on in the bed. Anyway, he loves them so much that I had to write a book about it because he does not like to sleep without socks. Like I've sometimes tried to take them off, like, hey, it's warm tonight, it's really hot. And I'll be like, socks or no socks? He says, no, I said, socks or no socks? He says, socks every time. I'm like, Zach, it's hot. And I'll like try to take him away and he'd be like, no, give him back. So he sleeps in socks. And I don't know how people do that. It's so uncomfortable, but he sleeps in socks. Anyway, yes, Zach's favorite socks.
Okay.
So a young boy who was like, I think it's the first day of first grade. Zach, of course. His name is Zach. And yeah, he's going to first grade. But he has to have his, he's getting up for the first day of school. He's getting ready to go to first day of school, but he has to have this certain pair of socks to make it through the day at school. He just
safety behavior there, right? Okay.
Yeah, it's just systematic. With our children on the spectrum, we know that they are very structured.
Yeah, they have structured routine.
Right?
Yeah.
Routine, thank you. And so he has plenty of other socks. So his mother offers him like, hey, what about these? And he's like, no, those are not the ones. And so yeah, he's off to school, but he's very, very disappointed. He's really sad because he looked for them like the whole morning and he can't find them. So yeah, that's what it's about. So it's called Zach's Favorite Socks. And so by the end of the story, he finally finds them. But while he's at school, like he can't even focus. You see, he's sitting at his desk and he's thinking about those darn socks. Okay. The bell is about to ring, but he's just like, where are my socks? So And so, I would like to do a sequence and then like gradually, I want to gradually introduce autism. So the socks are the autism logo, the print on the socks,
Ah,
the puzzle pieces. For those of us who know. If not, of course, but I don't mention autism this first book, but that's just a subtle introduction, just showing that the socks have the autism logo. And I think by the second or third book, I'm going to introduce the fact that, Zach is so routine because, he has autism, and try to explain in a subtle way what that looks like. And we know that looks so many different ways, but
yeah.
so because in this book, Zach is very vocal and uses his words incredibly and can really talk. That's not my Zach story. However, I do know Zach is in class with some of his classmates from kindergarten are still in class with him all the way in 8th grade, and they are very verbal.
Mm.
So,
But what about the mum, the parent in the story?
yes, I guess
What
that's
is, yeah. So, but what is their reaction? I mean, does their focus on?
well, she's just trying to, get him relaxed and calm enough to get on the bus and go to school. It's the first day of school. You're excited. You don't want to miss the first day of school. We'll find your socks. She assures him and reassures him that by the time he gets home, she will have found his socks. And ultimately that's what happens. She's just like, we'll find them. Don't worry about it. It'll be okay. They're somewhere. Mommy will find them. And that's generally what I do. I'm the superhero.
Okay.
I'm magic, of course. So just like in real life, in the book.
Yeah, but I do wonder then if have you approached anything from the perspective of a parent of an autistic child, what it's either it's a self-help book or even if it's a reflection or a diary. Could I know yourself, Faith Evans, I think Sean Stockton is a number.
So many of us, man. It's like if you don't know someone with a child on the spectrum, that's now odd. It's like the new normal. You know what I mean? Someone knows someone with a child on the spectrum if you don't have one yourself. It's just it's pretty it's crazy. It's wild. It's how many of us now have children on the spectrum and or know someone.
But have you read any books of, when you for yourself, did you read anything of somebody else's experiences?
No, not books, no, but I've spoken to many parents who've reached out to me on social media since I first disclosed that I had a son on the spectrum.
Yeah.
I get lots of DMs to this day. I've encountered it's mind blowing. I know so many parents now who are raising. I think I told you this the last interview. Multiple kids on the spectrum, not just one, not just two. Sometimes 3. I know a few parents that have 3 children on the spectrum.
Yeah,
like
that's a full-time job.
How in the what? Like, I can't even fathom. Like, Zach for me is a handful, and he's not even severe, if you will, but he's not like mild either.
Yeah.
And he's just one kid. I just couldn't even imagine 2 and 3 on the spectrum. It is, God knows, who can handle that. Do you know what I mean? It's deep. It's really deep. It's just, it's really deep. It's so many questions we have too. There's a lot of parents. There's just so much controversy surrounding all the theories and thoughts and all. That's a whole nother conversation. But yeah.
Yeah, but have you thought about writing from your perspective? Because you've got two different stories here. You've got the real amazing story of his birth and how you had to go through and experience all that early stages, and then the other stages. Well, as a single parent, raising him on a child on the spectrum, but also having a career in entertainment where it isn't like your 9 to 5 and stuff. And then the other phase is then dealing with so you can look at different, this is different books from the beginning, the middle, which is raising him as by yourself in your career. Then you've got, dealing with your mom, raising him, then your career, and from those point of views. So there is almost a reflection for parents, how they other parents, the inspirational stuff, and it could be in the third person, or it could be autobiographical.
Well, yeah, I've been approached. So for a while now, I've always felt like it was too early for me to tell my story. Like I felt like I didn't have enough to tell, but I don't feel that way anymore. I definitely, whew, God, I could definitely write an autobiography, but yeah, it's not even about me. To your point, I for sure have the thought has crossed my mind. I think it would be beneficial to share my story, to other parents of children on the spectrum or just special needs kids, period, across the board, young adults as well, because it is pretty. It's pretty it's layered, and it's every day is different. Every year is different with them. I'm still learning with Zach. He's changing. He's a young man now. He's not, a little boy. He's not a big boy. He's a young man.
Yeah.
He is going to high school in the fall, and what does that look like? A young Black man in America and all of that good stuff. It's just a lot of stuff. It's a lot.
Yeah.
To think about.
But also there's a difference between the story that you might get, which most of the books that we receive are from the perspective of a white couple who have not just the mom and dad within the family supporting, but they have the extended grandparents around to support both, also who might always be together, and from the perspective of a Black family where dads will be available but not living at home. Granddad might not be around, and then it's like, okay, so that's a very different and unique story. And some dads is like, okay, this child is a little bit too much. I'm out of here. And but it's a lot, and it could happen quite a lot more. So when you're thinking of the effects of Black males in America, then to deal with the fact that they're on the spectrum and not raised in the same roof as with dad, how much more so that is now it doesn't have to be autobiography. It could be, as I said, it could be a fictional character, but it could pretty much be yourself, because a person could be an actress instead of a singer, but being Black and stuff, you could move things around. Just just as it could be something like that.
No, just I completely agree, and really just to I would want to come from a place of nonfiction, and just really being transparent, and truly sharing my experience, my journey, my thoughts, how I felt in the beginning, what I was going through, all the confusion, I think sometimes a lot of young parents have shame, a lot of young parents may not have the resources, within the Black community. A lot of times that's the case, just being somewhat, a public figure, if you will, and trying to utilize my voice to help those young parents not to be ashamed. I definitely have so much to share, for sure. Even just seeing other parents of Zach's classmates, or when I would take him to therapy, and just watching the other Black and brown families. It's a lot. It really truly is. And some of them are from a 2-parent home, but then some of them are not, and it definitely plays a part, I think. Like you said, there are fathers who they either disappear or they brush it off like, no, he'll be okay, or they, or they don't know how to really deal with it, or don't want to deal with it hands on. And it's a number of things. But my initial experience was, my emotions were all over the place. I didn't know how to handle it or what to do with it. It took me a minute to finally accept it. Not a super long time, but I did have to process it. And when I did, I'm like, okay, now it's time to get him help and move full steam ahead, do what I can as his mom to assure that I'm giving him his best life, So I was like, man, in the beginning, whew, there was a tenacity that was like no other. In the very beginning, I'm like, no, I have to do this. I have to put him in this. I have to put him in that. I gotta,
Yeah.
and it should remain that way. However, it does get taxing after a while, but you can't give up, especially as a single mom, but you can't give up. You have to always fight the good fight, as they say, because you're all they have, I
But
am Zach's boy, so.
now, when you think, if you look back at not only Zach's early birth and stuff, but then also what has just happened to your mom, do you feel like you've had a raw deal sort of thing, that you've pretty much had to put up with a lot in just your short life that you had? You're still,
Uh,
in this young
well,
life of yours, that like look at all that you and you haven't even you've got halfway through, and it's like, man, look at what I've had to put up with.
I feel like that on certain days, like today, I'm so tired. I'm exhausted, but no, I don't look at it like that at all, because I feel like to whom much is given, much is required. And I feel like I have had quite a blessed life. Um, I feel like, there are lots of people that want to be famous, right? Especially these days. And there are so many folks that want to be singers. And whether you're good or not is not the point. Whether you're talented or not is not the point. Whether you're gifted or not is not the point. Any of that, none of that matters. The bottom line is either you're chosen or you're not. For whatever reason, I was chosen. And I feel like because I was chosen to share my gift with the world at such a young early age, it's like this is part two of my life. This is like the other half of it. And while I want to kick and scream and complain, and shout to the Raptors, hey, oh my God, it's not fair. Why me? I can't, why not you? That's how I choose to look at it. Because it's like, girl, like, do you know how many people in the world wish they had the opportunity that you were given at such a young age? Not given, but that God blessed to me with. Because like, how many people can say that, hey, straight out of 12th grade, during 11th and 12th grade, I signed with Motown, and I missed my prom and all the good stuff that comes with high school, and all the senior trips and whatever. But I was in New York filming a video with a girl named Missy Elliott in this song called Stilo that suddenly, became successful and contributed to Nickelodeon culture. And you know what I mean, on tour with New Edition. It's just all these cool things before I'm even barely 19, maybe even 18. And I'm leaving out a whole bunch. But the point, you get the point though. The point is like, God, that is surreal to me. I think that's pretty profound. Like that's incredible. So now I'm like, you know what? I definitely have been hit with a lot, from my son almost losing his life at birth to, now my mom losing her sudden battle with cancer, to, gosh, it's so many ups and downs and highs and lows and everything in between, all types of adversities. But that's life, it's not fair and it's hard. And I'm human, so I get frustrated sometimes. I cry sometimes. I'm angry sometimes. I curse sometimes. you know. But what is there? Like, what am I going to do? I could sit here and complain, and I do that pretty often as well. But but I check myself and I say, hey, girl, shake it off. Like, what are you complaining about? It could be worse. And still, you are so blessed. I still live such a blessed life. I really do. I really, really do. You know, I am so blessed, and I'd like to think highly favored as well. My mom, Lord, my mom would always say, well, because of my favor, that you live the life, have the life that you have because of my favor and my prayers. And I'm like, I'm like, I know, Mom. Okay. But now that I'm older, I agree. I know that her and my grandmother, who prayed over me and with me throughout the years, and who are prayer warriors, I know that, of course, in addition to God's grace and mercy, that all is going to be well. And there are days, I mean, I could just say yesterday that I feel like sad and like depressed and like there's no light at the end of the tunnel because I just had a sad day yesterday. But I had to climb out of that because I know that still I have my health and strength, you know. My mind sometimes, my sanity, some may question at times. But overall, all jokes aside, like I'm thankful, like I still have my sanity to be able to raise my child. You know what I mean? My son is good. He's well taken care of. He's a spoiled brat. Like he's Gucci. We're not on no medication. We're not, you know what I mean? We don't have seizures. We're good. Thank you, Cheats. You know what I'm saying? It could be worse. That's my point. I have a home, a roof over my head. Like I'm okay. Thank you, God. And not just with material things. I'm just saying, like, we take so much for granted, and just seeing what my mom went through, I'm really trying to do better at just really being grateful for the small things that aren't so small.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not little, actually. So I'm just like, God, I got all my limbs. My limbs are working, my fingers, my toes.
Yeah.
I can get dressed by myself. You know what I mean? I can walk. I'm not in a wheelchair. Like, yes, some days I want to curse everybody out because I'm just mad at the world and I just got an attitude.
Yeah.
I'm tired. Like physically, I didn't get enough sleep. I didn't sleep. Actually, last night I didn't sleep. I forgot. Oh my God, how am I talking to you? I am on 2 hours of sleep.
Wow.
I sleep last night. And and that happens often. But that's been happening since my son was born. Just terrible with sleep. Parents know. We're used to that. Moms know what I'm talking about.
Okay, I was going to say, like,
our special needs. Listen, moms with with not just boys, with children on the spectrum. Oh, we don't sleep through the night. Come on. That just started sleeping through the night. Thank God when he turned about. He just stopped sleeping with me. He used to, that was a problem. Oh God, it was a problem until he was about 10, 11. It was hard, because Zach, he wouldn't wander throughout the house, but he definitely would wake up. You got to watch them, they sometimes just walking up and down the hallway, pacing, it's a real thing.
Yeah.
I didn't sleep for years. Zach is, oh God, like now when I ask him, hey, why don't you come watch a movie with me? I said, come on, I got popcorn. I try to lure him in the bed. Like, come on, popcorn. I got fruit snacks. Come on, let's watch a movie. And he's like, his dad told me, he's like, don't worry, he's going to stop wanting to sleep with you. I promise you. And I'm like, how? I can't tell. Like it's been so long. He's 10 now. And he's like, he is so not gonna want to sleep with you. So he said, you're gonna look up and he's just gonna not want to sleep with you. It's a phase. And I'm like, he don't know what he's talking about because it's autism. I don't think he knows what he's talking about.
And now you're trying to get him back in, like, come on.
Yeah. But thank God, that was hard. Thank God we're past that. He's 14 now. He's been in his own bed. Praise the Lord, saints. But I say all that to say that I developed a very unhealthy sleeping habit because I'm so used to broken sleep. So now that my mom has passed, I don't sleep that great, sometimes. Well, because her death is just still fresh for me. So anyway, last night was one of those nights, and I didn't take anything for sleep. I don't have any prescribed medication or anything. So because I didn't want to get, I don't want to be codependent on anything. So I didn't take any of like Z-Quil, which is the most I'll take. And so, and so I was just up. I'm like, oh my God. So yeah.
Wow.
So I'm
Yeah.
talking 2 hours.
Well, but I mean, but one of the things, the behaviors are really the writing your appreciations, but also writing your frustrations down, because the idea is to make sure the mind is not clogged up with all these thoughts.
That's what it is. My mind does not turn off. My wheels are constantly turning. I can't get it to shut off, but that's why I need to focus on, really praying and meditating and just like really.
You need to write them down. It needs to come off. It's like an alarm clock that you keep pressing snooze. It will keep buzzing unless you stop turning it off. And that's what the mind's like. So the thing is, the behaviors then become writing down the thoughts. Oh, I miss mom, writing it down.
Oh, that's good.
Just
Okay.
putting them, and then it's out. The mind says, "Oh, we can let go of it now." But when you try and it just says, "No, we can't deal with that." So writing it down, having a journal beside you, and all those thoughts, mindsets, and what you're happy about, what you're upset about, and each night. And I did that for about 2.5 years, where every time I'd wake up and I had all these things, I'd just write them down in the diary. Now the diary, I still have the diaries, but I've never gone back to them because it was but I needed it for that season, just to get rid of all the things that were in my mind. And once I did that, it was gone. Then something else would pop in.
Really good.
Yeah. So because
I never thought to write things down while sleeping. Well, when you wake up, I never thought to jot things when you can't sleep. My go-to is always. So a friend of mine sent me a grief little book. It's really really small, like handheld, on grief, and so I've been like just reading passages out of that when I wake up. Cause see, I don't want to. For me, if I wake up too easily, like if I'm up, out, like I instantly my mind starts right. So if I start writing things in my mind, I feel like I'm gonna have to turn the light on. I have to wake up, and it'll wake me up. So I bought this little tiny lamp so that I can read, but not, I guess, wake up, stimulate myself too much to where I can't go back to sleep.
Yeah.
So that's my only concern with that, is that because if I start writing, Lord have mercy, because I like to write. I love writing, like to the point where I'm like overwriting. Like that was one of my favorite subjects in school, right? Like creative writing in English. So I would always be told by the teacher, "Girl, I only asked for one page."
Yeah.
That's me. Like, girl, the sentences, all types of probably, what do they call those? Run-on sentences, all of that.
Yeah.
So with me, I'm probably like, oh Jesus. And
No, but remember, it's a behavior and it's a discipline. So even when we're dealing with anyone who struggles with excessive worries, when we do worry time, it is less than 20 minutes. It's not like go and worry for an hour and a half. So everything's timed. So
yeah,
generally it's like, what are the one or two things that my mind's just thinking about? I'll just jot them down and then I'll go back to sleep. And if it pops up, it's like somebody who says they heard a song and they had to get up and write it down so that before it goes out.
Yeah.
But that's a behavior that can help get whatever is in the mind. It's jotted down so the brain thinks, okay, we've gotten it out. We can now relax. But when it's in there, it's like, oh, we need to not forget that. And it's analyzing different things. And you're trying to discipline yourself to say, we've got 20 minutes tomorrow in the afternoon to look at all these things, but I need to jot them down now. And just watch and see how it helps the mindsets. But those who struggle with sleep, a lot of it would be just the fact that they're trying to it's almost like a washing machine. It just keeps going round and round and round.
Yeah, for sure. And this is, like I said, this is nothing new. I've been struggling with sleep for years, but I think that's just entertainers as well. With very odd, sleep hours anyway, especially if you're in studio working. Most artists like to work at night. Like I like to record at night. I'm not recording right now, but even like when I was, like I'm nighttime up to like 3 or 4 in the morning, and then would come home, sleep a few hours, and then get up and take Zach to school, which is terrible. That's still like only 3 or 4 hours of sleep. And most folks though would make up for it and sleep during the day. I'm running around, running errands, going to the grocery store, doing this, being mom. or just, adulting, as they say. So it's hard for me to even like take naps in the daytime. So yeah, I'm just like, I'll just be up, and your body, especially at this age, will let you know.
Yeah, but there are basic things to do. I mean, one, I don't go into my bedroom until it's time to sleep. So my body knows that, okay, it's time to sleep. So I don't go into my room and watch
Oh, that's
TV.
smart. That's good, because I do, and maybe I should stop
No,
that.
yeah. So the bedroom becomes, so this is when we're teaching sleep hygiene to teenagers. And what happens with teenagers, they spend all their time in their bedroom. So when it comes to sleep, they've got everything in there. The body's not used to. It's like, well, this is where we watch TV. This is where we hang out. So they can't separate the fact that you go into your bedroom. So yeah, once I leave my bedroom in the morning, unless I'm going in to get something, I'm barely in there. And so that
That's
when I lay down, my brain knows, okay, we've just got a few minutes before you shut down. And even my kids, they don't stay in their bedrooms. They're in the dining hall, in the living room, so that they know when it's time to go into the bedroom, it is pretty much shut down.
that's pretty genius, because I spend most of my time in my bedroom.
No, your body doesn't. Then it's not sleep time. It's like this.
Right.
Yeah.
And I watch TV, and it's like,
No,
I
goodness.
keep telling myself, like, watch TV in the living room, separate, and like, just try it. And I try, but I always end up in the bedroom.
But then it's like people. So I when I get the kids to do, at least the teenagers I'm dealing with, it's like, okay, you do routines like you've had your dinner, maybe you take a shower, maybe you put on your pajamas, maybe, and you're doing certain things to get the body condition that it is about this time to sleep. You put your phone down, and then you put your head on the pillow, and then it's pretty much okay. You've done all this sort of relaxing stuff, and you're not doing to do anything else. As I said, it is something as a habit to try and separate the bedroom, so you're not spending more than 5-10 hours during the day in the bedroom, because then the mindset's not going to think the bedroom is sleep room. It's just going to feel it's we're used to being up and about in there.
Yeah, that's definitely my room. I'm like, I'll be doing all types of stuff in the room. So you're right, like busy work and just busybody, and you're right. The differentiation is I guess questionable then, because it's like a multi-purpose space. So
Yeah, I mean,
makes a lot of sense.
so an experiment could be that, okay, if you think about it this evening, like, okay, when I'm going into before I go to bed, maybe I'll take a shower, bath, or stuff like that. Take some hot chocolate or so, and making sure that I'm not going to spend more than 4 hours in the bedroom throughout the day. And then, okay, this is it. I'm about to go to bed, but have my little notepad at the side. So if I wake up and I've got a lot of things in my mind, I'll just write them down, put it there, and then your brain will realize, okay, if we bring something up, she's going to write it down so we can get rid of the thoughts.
Yeah.
Brain will start thinking in those ways, trying it out and seeing how much of a difference is. But it means really just not reducing the amount of time you're spending in your bedroom. That does make a massive difference.
Yeah, and you can't grab your phone either. Like,
yeah, I mean,
that wakes you up for sure. Like once you start scrolling or whatever, I've read somewhere where they said the light from a computer or your phone, if you wake up in the middle of the night, that's the last thing you want to do.
Yeah, but yeah, as I said, if the room doesn't become an extension of where you already are, the body, as I said, the way the body, if somebody is keeps talking down about themselves, so our words are powerful. The body just, if you're not happy, if you're depressed, your face, everything, your way you eat, everything, it just affects it. It's us, we're spirit beings, and we've got our energy, so positivity, all that stuff. So yeah, if you are, if you're going into bed thinking that, okay, all this stuff is in my mind, I'm not going to be able to sleep, it will happen. But that's what I mentioned. The mind just needs to get it out. It just gets it out. It's just really the tough when I'm, cognitive behavior therapy. The cognitive part is always what can you do to help that. My suggestion is always to write things down. And a good habit is always being grateful, thinking of 2 or 3 things to be grateful for each day helps combat those negative thoughts. But as I said, your bedroom has to be sleep room, and you'd be surprised what a difference it makes.
What a difference it makes, huh? I believe that. I'm gonna try that tonight. Thanks.
Yeah.
I'll watch TV downstairs today.
Yeah, watch it downstairs. But before we do go, though,
I know I have to get dinner for that. I forgot. He is in the other room. Oops.
It is midnight here, but
yeah,
anyway, but everyone's going to be saying, "What about 702?" So what can we expect from 702? We're in April, getting into spring. What can we expect from 702?
So we have a few things coming up. Thankfully, I'm ready to get back to work, and things are looking good as far as everyone's always ready for concerts, spring and summer, right? So a lot of things are happening spring and summer. So we're doing, I think, what's next up? What month are we in? We're in April, so I believe first up is May. We have oh shucks, I don't know if I can announce that because we're doing a tribute to someone here in Atlanta. Oh shoot, did I just give it away? I probably
no. Okay.
Let's not do that part. Anyway,
okay, that's fine. That's
a tribute to somebody. That's in May. That's next month. But before that, even we have the Lovers and Friends.
Oh yes, I heard about that last year.
Yes, that's coming up first. Even I don't even know why I named the other thing first because Lovers and Friends is first. That's May 6th.
Okay.
In Las Vegas, so we're excited because that's.
Are you going to go home and stuff? Yeah.
I go home. I get to go home. I have not
over 80. It was last. I think I saw. Yeah, it was like hundreds. Like loads of you guys R&B, old school last year when I saw. Were you there last year?
We were not there last year. No, and God, we really wanted to be there, and so we're so grateful that we're there this year. We're really excited about it. So it's a huge, humongous show. I didn't know how massive it was. It's like 1,000 acts. So
yeah.
So we're doing Lovers and Friends on May 6th in Vegas. And then Long Beach has a festival as well, May 27th. We're doing a festival out there in Long Beach, California on 27th. And I think in June we have Juneteenth. We're going back to Vegas for something in Juneteenth, a celebration, a Juneteenth celebration in Vegas. I forget the date, but June something. And another Juneteenth celebration, I think, in Virginia, all around the same time. Vegas and Virginia, I think that's like the same weekend or something for Juneteenth. That's in June. And I think we're trying to come back to London for the show that we were unable to attend last year due to my mom's death.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that works out. We're really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And I'm so sorry again that we canceled.
No, goodness, no, that's fine. Anyway, but Corey.
I definitely take the blame. It was definitely
no, goodness, you couldn't have traveled within a week.
The first time I ever canceled a show, people, just so you know.
yeah, and especially
it was just too much. I couldn't do it. It was literally, it was barely a week, I think, apart.
Yeah.
So I was just like, yeah. Okay. So anyway, that being said, fingers crossed we'll be back for that event, which is in the fall, I think.
Yeah.
Hopefully. So that's later down. We got to get back over there. We have not been to London as a group at 702 in years. I've been over there, I think, a few times myself, but we've probably not been over there since. It's been a minute. Probably, I told you, Top of the Pops was probably still around.
you went to my homeland, Nigeria.
Yes. I want to go back. I've only been there once. I want to go back. One time, I've got to go back. Yes, it was a lovely time.
Yeah, I did an interview with Corey last week.
Oh yes, okay, yes. Yeah, Corey, I love Corey. Corey is the greatest. Our birthday's on the same day, so we're like brother and sister. So we just. Lord, he is the thorn in my side and vice versa. We get on each other's nerves because we love each other so much. He's like my
goodness. When he told me his story from being an orphan and the whole 9 yards.
Yes, I know. Goodness. I didn't even know all of that. Well, I've been working with him now probably at least 6-7 years or so. But so as time went on, I learned about that as well, man. And it's the thing, like, you just never know people's stories. You never know
Yeah.
what people have been through. But yeah, Corey got me booked over in Lagos, and it was just, man, it was awesome. They were,
Yeah.
it was lovely. Everybody was just so kind, and I had a great time. I gotta go back.
Everyone would always say, would you guys ever be in a studio again? Or does it make sense the way things are, just just singing the hits as much?
That's what I
But
think. That part. Yeah, I think it just makes sense just to sing the hits. Unfortunately, I think that we live in a society that is their attention span is very short.
mm,
And, thankfully, we have a catalog that has been resilient enough to still give people, the experience of nostalgia, and help people remember where they were at that time in life, and
yeah.
people to sing along and have a good time, and, think back to those days. And so I think that's what really matters, is just focusing on what got us here, the hits, and those songs that are now, I guess I could say, they're pretty just very necessary and for the culture, uh it's a blessing to be able to say that, some of those songs, like Where My Girls At, that's gonna always be,
Mm.
a song of women empowerment, even though it's talking about a child taking some other woman's man, but still, that's neither here nor there. The point is,
Well, Whitney
there's an
Houston got away
overall
with
theme of the
saving all
song
my
that's like,
love for you was about I'm loving on someone
yeah,
else.
right. Really listen, but
Yeah.
but the overall theme is just like a girl empowerment song, that'll always be like, like a camaraderie, sisterhood type of song.
Yeah.
that,
We,
that will live on forever. And so I don't think it's necessary to do new music. I really don't, because unfortunately the people they just don't care as much. Even if we were to do one, I don't know that people would care. They might care for a second, but I just don't think they would. Not that we're not capable of, recording a hit, but
well, the
I
idea is the
the
fact
hit
that
songs are the hit songs, for 702. That, you know what I mean?
yeah, I mean the thing is that your core audience, their consumption habits have changed. So we bought the CDs and the
Absolutely.
albums,
Not so much
the
anymore.
but not as much anymore. And we're not really streaming as much because we're watching on YouTube. And the generation that does the streaming and downloading, they're into the Little Uzis and the Megans and
All
that
of that.
type of music, which is different.
Yeah,
You don't want to then start getting into that sphere just to
correct.
because it's not. The only thing I can imagine you guys do is 702 greatest hits live. So you are you're singing all your 10 or 15 favorite tracks with a band,
Yeah,
and it's recorded, and it
yeah.
becomes a live album. That might be something
That'd be
that on
great.
a live video, something like that. I can imagine stuff like that. Or if you did, or if you featured on a hit on a maybe Megan Thee Stallion does a track and you did the back
Right.
end of stuff, like Missy did
Yeah.
something with a group called Flow recently,
Mhm.
but she's not putting out new music and stuff.
Right. Yeah,
But
those are options for sure.
yeah, are you guys rehearsing? With
Well,
Iris?
yeah, we're definitely gonna have to. So, yes, we are planning that now. Yeah, it's kind of tough because I live here in Atlanta, and the sisters, the girls are out in Las Vegas, and
Oh,
so
they're still out there. Okay.
yeah, and so sometimes it's a little challenging. We always work it out. We've done like Zoom, Skype rehearsals as
Okay.
well.
Okay. Oh, is Skype still a thing?
I know, right?
I was
Oh
thinking
my
Skype.
gosh. Remember Skype? I know that sounds like, doesn't that sound so old now? Like, do people still use Skype?
Yeah.
They do. Or WhatsApp? They more so WhatsApp, huh? Not
Yeah,
Skype.
no, Microsoft bought Skype and they've turned it into Teams.
Okay.
Um, did you see the Legacy tour when they came to Atlanta?
No, I missed it. Oh my gosh, I'm so disappointed. I
Oh,
missed it. I was well, so my life has changed a lot since my mom has passed. I don't she was like, she was my sitter, my nanny.
Oh yeah.
I don't really I don't really let a lot of people watch Zach. And so until I find, secure childcare for him, my life is pretty dull right now.
Okay. And he wouldn't have enjoyed going out there, listening to all the noise and stuff.
Right. No, yeah. But no, I'm so disappointed. I've heard that it was great. I had people go in Vegas. I've had people go in Cali.
Mm.
I think Corey went in Virginia. Um, so I've heard it's nothing but great things. I really wish I could have seen. I hope I can catch it. Maybe I don't know if they're. When are
Yeah,
they done?
to the end of April. But then
Rap. I missed it.
the final thing then is especially since but yourself and the other members of 702 and Corey have all been involved in reality show. What did you make of the SWV Escape
Watch it.
Queens? You didn't watch it?
By choice. No, I did not watch one episode.
Oh.
It's a little triggering for me. That's my real life. I come from a girl group.
Okay.
I didn't have no interest.
I didn't realize you.
That's not even like throwing shade or like trying to throw my group members under the bus. I'm just simply saying like it just hit too close to home. Just a little small snippets of things that I did hear and see. Like that's my real life. I come from a girl group, and it's tough. It's not easy, and I didn't want to see it. It's very sad and disheartening. The little bits and pieces that I do know and have seen on social media or have heard about. Like
and they regret actually. Well, SWV regret doing it because
I bet I understand. Not social media. Well, social media definitely makes things even worse. But reality TV is just it's tricky. While the money is good, relationships are broken. Whether it's a friendship, a marriage, a family, like it's just always drama, and it's entertaining for us viewers. But then, the folks on the other side, they're suffering. You know what I mean? And gosh, I mean, I heard it was just a lot of things.
Yeah, but
and
then
just had no interest because, like I said, unfortunately, being in a girl band is not easy. And I've been in a girl band since I was in high school, and we're now in our 40s. And I'd be lying if I said we have not had, and it's like, it's very draining.
But you were on R&B Divas though. I didn't realize that when we spoke. And I guess I know. I've interviewed Angie Stone, Nikki Gilbert, Monifa, and they all would all bringing it up that you would. And I'm thinking, what?
Yes.
And I never saw it. That's why.
A lot of people didn't know that, and I'm okay with that.
No. I didn't see the whole thing because it didn't show in the UK, so I never knew about the show.
Okay. No. A lot of people didn't even know in America. So it's on a network, a Black-owned network called TV One. So it's a very small network, and unfortunately, a lot of our Black television networks, unless it's BET, are not very well known. Some cable companies may not even carry it. And some folks, depending on the cable package you have, may not have the channel. So a lot of people didn't know, and it's okay. I got me and Latavia were pulled in kind of like as a duo from Destiny's Child to be like new, fresh, young faces. It was the last season though. It was a franchise. They did, I think, Atlanta, LA, and maybe one more city. I'm not sure, but it was like 3 seasons. We got pulled in on the third and final season of
in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
So who was in the house with you then?
We weren't in the house, praise the Lord. That I would not have been able to do.
Okay.
Oh no. I know me. I don't think I ever want to do a show where I have to live with folks for a little while. That's not how I'm set up. I'm not built like that. It's a no for me.
Yeah, but then who was in the series? It was yourself, Latavia?
It was me, Latavia, Angie, Monifa, Kiki Wyatt. Who am I leaving out? I'm forgetting somebody. God, that's 5 of us. Let's see. Me, Latavia, Angie, Kiki, Monifa, and I know I'm missing somebody. Am I missing? I gotta be missing someone else. Okay. Oh, Selena. And Selena Johnson. I love Selena. Okay. Selena also has a child on the spectrum.
Okay.
kind of talked about it.
Okay.
Her son, I think, was just kind of about to become diagnosed or be diagnosed or be evaluated. So we shared that at the time. But shout out to all of them. They were all super cool and super sweet to me. Love me some Angie Stone. She's like everybody's auntie. Everybody loves Angie.
I'm just
Gotta love Kiki, my fellow Pisces sister. She is hilarious and of course uber talented. Jesus Lord. Like I said, Selena's just like so cool, your homegirl, you know, that everybody can just get along with. Selena's cool. She's really cool. And me and Latavia though have been knowing each other for years. So we came in as like I said, as like a packaged duo.
Wow.
We had history and we're friends in real life. So that was cool. And I knew Monifa from the past, from like performing back in the day, we were performing some of the same circuits. And yeah, everybody I mean, I guess for me, like the reason why I was chosen to do it was more so from what I was told initially, because you know how this production is tricky. What I was told at the time was that they wanted me to definitely kind of just share my story, because I wasn't comfortable sharing my story yet about having a kid on the spectrum. I just hadn't I hadn't really shared that with anybody. So they were like, that would be really good, especially for the African American community. We don't really talk about that much, nobody touches on it. And I was like, you know what, you're right. I was afraid at first. I was nervous at first, but I was like, you know what, this will be great, actually, because I'm sure it'll touch a lot of people. And I'm certain that people will connect and relate. And that's exactly what came out of it. That's how I started getting so much traffic on my social media about being an autism parent, because I opened up, that was my storyline, pretty much about me having a son with Music Soul Child who was on the spectrum, and also getting back into the studio, being away from the group and, starting some solo music. That was my storyline. But, I guess, I didn't have no drama, like none. So I'm boring, I guess, I was boring I guess, because, they want you to act a fool, and I'm not about to do all that, child.
Yeah.
Not gonna give you my checks, okay?
Yeah. But anyway, you've got to deal with a lot anyway. So
it's a lot, but no, we had a good time. But I mean, it was definitely drama. I wasn't a part of any of it, but they wanted me to be a little reckless at times and say slick stuff out of my mouth or whatever. But they entice you in your confessionals to try to comfort each other. But like, I'm so beyond that. That's just not really my personality. Don't get me wrong. Like, I have a sassy mouth. Don't get me wrong if I need to. Very spicy. My mother was quite a feisty lady. So I do have, a bit of sass, if you will, if I need to. But like, I just don't like having to go there, because I feel like that's what's worshipped on social media now and reality TV now. Like, everybody loves the mean girl. So everybody wants to be the mean girl. Everybody wants to, read people for filth and, just come for you and just let you have it and just, oh God, and so the hell out of you. And it's just like, and it's praised, and it's just like,
yeah. And then,
So I was boring Betty, nobody wants to see, somebody who comes off as, never being in any confrontation or anything like that. So that was my stint in reality TV.
Okay. Well, I'm just glad that you guys are back, and I'm glad that that we're going to see 702, because
Yes.
you guys are, there's not many total haven't returned Destiny's Child aren't out there. And so, for you guys, it's great that the three of you are still singing, and it's definitely understandable what happened, where you guys have taken a break, but it should make you guys stronger when you come back. So
Thank you.
definitely going to be looking forward to seeing you out there singing, and I'm sure, when you think about the emotions that you're feeling about Mom, some of those love ballads are probably going to be the most powerful ones the fans
don't
would ever.
say it. Yes, I just had a little meltdown on stage recently, last week, because I just got back from Tampa, Florida, where I was promoting my book, but I also was hosting like an open mic, and of course, open mics have live bands, and oh gosh, and I'm just a sucker for certain chords, and oh gosh, and it was just like, yeah, it got the best of me for sure. It was a moment that I had, and I was just like, oh my goodness, and I just didn't even know it was coming. But um, I know that I can't break down every show, so I'm gonna do my best to really be strong and get through these songs for the fans.
You have a song for your mum, so at least you can be singing it, so you know that that's gonna be, you can save it to for that and channel.
Right. Nothing comes to mind, in particularly, like none of 702 songs off the top of my head, but I just know she always
What's her
loved
favorite song?
hear me
Um,
sing, and she always encouraged me to sing. Oh Lord, she loved all the stuff that I sang in church. So I sang one of her favorite gospel songs that I used to sing when I was a young girl at her service, and I hope I did her proud. I think she was happy. I'm hoping and praying that she was just happy to see me singing in church again. It had been some time, had been quite a while, and so she just always definitely loved to hear me sing um, the songs I sang in church. And then I grew up singing. She taught me a Diane Reeves song, who was a jazz artist. It was a song about Diane Reeves' grandmother, and I was singing that song at 10 years old. It was a very old soul song type of record. My mom had me singing a lot of Whitney Houston. She would often rewrite the words when she would feel like it was a little too grown up or adult for me at the time. She would totally change the words.
okay.
It was so funny. But yeah, so she loved to hear me sing Whitney, and Denise Williams, some of her gospel songs when Denise Williams went gospel. My mom introduced me to some of Denise's gospel stuff and would love to hear me sing some of that as well. So it really, she had gosh, it was a variety, but she introduced me to a lot of different styles of music. She and my dad, but she for sure had me singing certain songs, because it's certain songs that I could not sing. Like I loved Shirley Murdoch's Husband and As We Lay, and I wanted to sing it so bad. And my mother was like, "No, ma'am, you will not be singing."
Yeah, but yeah.
Oh my Lord. So she definitely was instrumental in the hand picking of the songs.
Wow. What about this 702? Did she not have a favorite 702 song?
702, she loved Get It Together, I would say. Or no,
Yeah. Hmm.
well, it was that or Stilo. I think she really liked hearing me sing Stilo. She liked the upbeat um songs. But I think everybody loved Get It Together. She definitely liked Get It Together, but I think she really enjoyed Stilo. I think maybe because it was just our first song and she was so excited, because that was, the first 702 song from when I joined the group. And so that was like, our first release, and she was excited about that. So I think, and we performed that song. I feel like we performed Stilo so much back in the day when we first came out. And she was there with us sometimes on the road. And yeah, she would just be excited when we would be singing that song. I would just see her on the side of the stage.
So what would you dedicate to her then if you had to pick a song when you go,
A 702 song, probably
yeah.
it would probably be either Stilo, anything from the first album, Stilo, or Get It Together for sure. Anything from the first album, my mom was elated. And we had 4 singles off that first album. So I know she loved All I Want as well. She really enjoyed that video. She liked All I Want a lot. I actually like that too. I think she thought it was so sweet. She just I think it was the melody, the track.
Mm.
She would always say she liked the music of All I Want.
Yeah, well, you got to pick one, and then that'll be Mama's song. And if it is
Yeah.
Stilo, which is more beat, but I like Get It Together, but it's you know, you can
That's
get caught
about
up
some
in.
love stuff that I didn't even know about back then. So you know,
Yeah.
which I will say this, we recorded an inspirational song on our first album. Was that first album or second album? Second album. Yeah. Yeah, that was second album. That Warren Campbell wrote. He wrote an inspirational song for us. And she was just happy that we included Jesus.
In the 90s. Everybody could get an
one
intro.
inspirational song, right?
Yeah. Blackstreet always had one. I'm like, my
Yes. So
goodness.
Mama she definitely love that one. It wasn't a single, but it was called "What More Can He Do." I love that song too.
Yeah.
That was her jam for sure.
I was talking to Woody a few weeks ago, and he did say that back in the days you had all the album playing, and then when you get to track 15, it was always a Jesus song, and you have to quickly stop it
Isn't it
because
funny?
it kills the
Oh,
mood.
and it's always at the end, right?
It's always at the end, yeah, yeah.
Lord have mercy, hilarious.
Oh goodness. Well, I look forward to seeing you guys on stage. Yeah, but then also we'll make sure people are pointed to Zach's favorite socks.
Yes.
And understand if
Media. The link is in my bio. Or just type it in on Amazon. Zach's favorite socks book. You have to put book because socks on Amazon.
yeah. So
literal socks. So Zach's
okay.
book.
Okay.
Zach's favorite socks book on
Book.
Amazon.
Yeah, that was yes.
But it's also barsandnobles.com.
Yeah, and definitely appreciate you taking the time, and but also look, hopefully you find the right type of group stuff. But anytime you're up for a chat, just I'll reach out to Corey to say.
I now know that I can slide in your DM, so I can.
Yeah, but seriously, because it's this is when I've gone through stuff, I call my brother who's out in Portland or a good friend of mine and just get it off, because if I don't, it'll be in my head and it'll just be.
Oh, it's necessary. It's necessary. Thank you for offering that, because in all seriousness, we all need someone to talk to, and grief counseling is so necessary. It's so important, and I do know that it's something that I not just want to do but need to do. So thank you for offering that, because there are times and days where I struggle. And when I announced that my mom passed, there were so many of my industry peers that extended themselves, and I'm grateful. Man, so many, Meelah Williams of Destiny's Child. You mentioned Destiny's Child a minute ago. Mm-hmm. I don't even we don't even have a relationship like that, like we're friends, for her to even care that much. She didn't have to do that. She DM'd me and gave me her number. Hey, if you want to talk. Speaking of Warren Campbell, his sister Joy Campbell, same thing. DM'd, hey, if you want to talk. I don't know if you're familiar with Duran Bernard. So sweet. He just did Tiny Desk. Same thing, slid in my DMs. Alex Isley slid in my DM. And mind you, I'm fans of these people too. So so I was so grateful. If this ever comes across their screens, I'm grateful. Pardon me. I think I said it on my social media one time, but I'm gonna say it again. Thank you to everybody who reached out to me during that difficult time. I'm still going through it, but just knowing that I had the support of like I said, my peers really meant a lot. And I'm missing a few folks. So if I didn't name you, please know.
Yeah, there are many people
on purpose, but no, just know that I appreciate it so much. I saw it, and it took me a minute, but I responded, and I'm grateful. And I brought that up to say that I remember in my dark hours when I feel low, those things, and I'm a person that doesn't ask for help, and I'm a person that's very to myself most of the time. But this time around, I had to get outside of my comfort zone, and I reached out to some of those people. So I'm going to try and do better with that, is my point to you.
Yeah. Well, at least I know that I'll just ask Corey. I said, hey, let me know if Meelah needs a few minutes, and and we'll have a chat, and so that you may not ask, but you may accept.
Yeah. Well, I just want you to know we hit 3 hours again, so I'm gonna go.
yeah. I didn't realize
we're almost at 3 hours.
No, okay, I wasn't keeping count, but yeah, I know it's 10 minutes to 1:00, and
it's almost 8:00 here, and I'm sure my son.
Okay.
Probably Well, he's
Well,
good. Like he has his iPad, but I'm sure he is ready to nibble on something. So I have to go figure out dinner and do the whole routine, shower, and get him ready for school. Yeah.
well, be blessed. And remember, your bedroom is for sleeping, not
Okay. Oh my
for
gosh.
being busy.
Yes. Thank you. Because I'm not gonna lie, I lay in my bed and watch TV for hours.
And then keep a notebook as well for all the thoughts.
Yeah. That's true. I read that. That's what keeps you going as well. They say if you watch TV before you go to bed, or if you're on your phone or your computer, keeps you up.
Yeah.
And it makes your mind is still wired, I guess. Yeah.
So,
well, thank you. Look, note taken. I hear you. Okay, I'm gonna try and limit my television watching and
in your room, and then also keep a book. Yeah. Separately. Okay. Well, I'll let you go. I'll be in touch.
Thank you so much again. I appreciate you so much. It's always like a therapy session, so I appreciate it. Thank you. I needed it.
No, I will reach out to Corey next time.
Okay, no worries. If not, you can DM me. It's totally fine.
Yeah, now, I will. Yeah.
With those DMs, I do take a while, but I'm trying to get better with that as well.
That's why I said I'll talk.
I'm a little more proactive.
I'll reach out to Corey, say, how is she doing? And then I'll say, look, if you need to, let's schedule 20 minutes or so just to say hi and stuff.
Yes, I would love that. Thank you. Okay, sounds good.
All right. I'll talk to you
then. Go get some rest. Okay. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.